Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Y'all. Hello, Sydney. Hello, Katrina. Leia. Okay, everybody's back. Okay. Baby, that was gonna make my nerves so bad. Because I was like, wait a minute. Why is it not working? Y'all, I'm telling you. I'm already nervous. And you may be thinking to yourself, Galen, baby, why would you be nervous? I am nervous because I'm so scared that no, we're not bringing this. I'm not gonna bring that negative energy in here. I'm just gonna say I was nervous and just leave it at that. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I'm just getting my bearings. You know, this is our first live in quite some time. So I'm just getting myself back into practice. That's it. That's all. That's the only thing. Is I'm just getting myself back into practice. So if you see me giggling like an idiot, child, or I seem like I'm smiling, it's a nervous smile. But we're gonna be good. Tonight is gonna be great. Tonight is gonna be, and I'm so scared that I don't like nobody's gonna come in here because I had to reset it, and everybody's gonna be like, never mind. Anyway, okay. Hello, L. Because we had like 40 people in here. Oh my god. Okay, it's okay. All right. Y'all, even though I seem like I don't have it all together right now, I am nervous because I'm excited. It's a good kind of nervous. Like, it's not like JD got us this picture of Piper, by the way. So everybody say thank you to JD. Hey, Crystal. So it's like, y'all just work with me, okay? Because it's just something about today. Okay. Take a breath. We're going to take a breath. Didn't you get this picture? Yeah. Because when I first said that I was going to do the series of lives on the sisters, you sent me this picture and a bunch of other ones, I think. If you didn't, we're going to say you did. Because, listen. It's me not remembering this tickler. That was 3 weeks ago. That was a good little minute ago. That was like almost a month ago. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started today, y'all. I am so excited to talk about Piper. I'm very excited to talk about her in the same way that I was very excited to talk about Prudence. I'm very excited to talk about this character. Before we really get started, though, there's a couple of things that I really would like to say up front. And I'm gonna try to say this as nicely as I can. Please don't tell me that Piper is the best and can solo her sisters. I don't need to know that information. I don't need to know that you think that. That is not going to be conducive to our discussion today. If you think that you don't want to hear about any other sisters because Piper is just A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, we're not doing that today. And please do not, I am begging you for the love of God, do not tell me not too much. Please don't say that to me today. I usually don't ask for very specific things, but I'm asking for that. Like, my nerves are paper thin, and I am asking you to please today, do not say to me, not too much on. Please don't. Like, that is the one thing I'm asking. Please don't. Not even as a joke. Not even as a joke. Don't even say not too much on. Like, please. Like, today, my nerves are paper thin, and talking about Piper is very interesting because I do feel like I do feel like Piper is hard to talk about, and I actually have a specific reason as to why, and I wrote that in my notes, and I think I want to start with that. actually. I was gonna do kind of like in the middle of it, but I think I'm gonna start with that because I think that this is a very important. I don't mind, like, I don't want to turn the subscriber only chat on because I genuinely want to hear from everybody. But please try to keep the comments respectful. Please try not to. Please don't tell me like not too much on Piper, not too much on Mother. Please don't. Just not tonight. Paper thin. Don't tell me Piper can solo. Don't tell me. I don't need to know that. Nerves are paper thin. Anyway, hello everyone that has just come in. We are going to go ahead and get started on our discussion about Piper. And there's a point that I wanted to make that I have to talk about in the middle of the discussion, but I really want to talk about it up front because we just started like a Patreon watch party for Charmed. And we watched Charmed something Wicca This Way Comes. And something dawned on me, and I have been thinking about it all day because I wasn't able to verbalize it in the moment, and I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to say. So Piper is a character who, thank you, Troynell, and thank you everybody. Piper is a character who is a comfort character for a lot of people. And if you've watched me, followed me for any amount of time, you know that I actually think that Phoebe was the POV character of Charmed. And today I kept thinking there's something about Piper that just, because she's, like, I loved her in this episode. And I kept thinking like, what? Because we realized Piper is the first one to actually fight a demon in the show. To physically like hit a demon. She is the first one who uses her powers on a demon. She is the first one who uses her powers unintentionally for personal gain. And it's like these things kept and I was like, what is this trying to tell me? And what am I trying to think? Because like I said, I think that Phoebe is the POV character of Charmed. And I think that we grow up in the show with her. I think that we actually grow up on the show Charmed with Phoebe. Piper, to me, of course, I think is the heart of the family. I really do think that. I think Piper is the heart of the family, but something else kept sticking out to me because I was like, it's more than that makes her so relatable to people. And what I realized today is Piper is a POV character too, but Piper is a POV character I think out of universe. I don't really know. I'm still kind of thinking of what I'm trying to, how I want to phrase, because Phoebe to me, when we're watching the show, we're watching the surroundings of the show through Phoebe's eyes. And I think that's why we see Prue through a certain lens. I think that's why we see Piper through a certain lens. I think that's why the show starts to feel different later on because it's through Phoebe's eyes. So we are taking in these changes and the family, the births and things like that through Phoebe's eyes, right? But I don't know, there's a small distinction. It's a distinction in what I'm trying to say. Piper is, I think, us in the show. Phoebe is who we're watching the show through and we're experiencing her, but Piper is literally like us in the show. Piper is your everyday, and that goes back to, again, relatability. It goes back to Piper being a comfort character, but it's deeper than that. But I'm struggling to find words, and so I just want y'all to like, because I know y'all probably like, baby, you keep saying the same words over and over. There's something I'm trying to like verbalize and get out, and I can't figure out what I'm trying to say, and it's right there. She's very real. Piper is very realistic. That's like she's very, the story is through Phoebe, but we are experiencing Piper, which makes her, I think that's why people tend to hang on to her the way they do. And y'all, by the way, Piper is the narrator, Phoebe is the main character. Exactly. There you go. I could not figure out what words. I know I was saying a lot of words. I couldn't figure out how to verbalize it. Thank you. That's why I didn't care for her too much. She was too much of a real person. I could see that. And the thing is, Piper is a person, just like the rest of them, that I could see somebody very easily disliking her. And all of them have that. Like, all of them have those characteristics. And Phoebe could get on your nerves very easy. Prue could definitely get on your nerves very easy. I could see where Paige could get on your nerves very easy. And so Piper is the same, but because we relate to her so much, I think that's why it's hard for people to take critique of her. And it's easier to critique a character like Prue because we're a little bit farther removed from her. Unless you're like an oldest child, or, you know, you're someone who has always had to take care of the people around you or something like that. Phoebe, it's easier to critique her because I feel like she made these bigger decisions. She did these huge things. You know, she made these huge mistakes that had repercussions, things like that. Paige was a sister who was thrown into the middle of the show. And so, you know, she didn't fit. And so everyone can find a reason to not like her or to like her. But then Piper, in classic middle sister-ish-ness, she's just kind of there. And that's why people love her, and that's why people cling on to her, which is a good thing. You need a character like that. And the thing about her is, and I want to say this from a personal perspective, because, you know, earlier in the live, I asked the people and I say like, oh, Piper solos, oh, this and that, blah, 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 blah. My thing is, and don't tell me like, not too much on Mother. I think it's very hard for people to take like a criticism of a character when they feel so closely to them. And everyone has a character like that. Everyone has a character like that. And even if you don't like actively like go against people for it, there's someone that you go up for on a Tuesday that people might be like, you need to calm down. And you don't even realize you're getting up like that because you're watching something and you're so invested in it that you've related yourself to this character. And Piper has been one. You listen to my audiobooks, thank you. And y'all, if I don't read all your comments, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I promise you. It's just a lot. It's a lot of comments. Thank God. Thank y'all for being here with me. Thank God. Thank y'all for being here. Baby, I feel very seen tonight. So thank you. Piper is a character that I really helped me, I think, to change my mindset on how I approach people and how I see people. And for me, what that was when I would first start talking about her, like on, you know, here or whatever, there would always be someone who would come in and be like, not too much on Mother, not too much on this, and I would get irrationally angry and I couldn't figure out why. And I mean, I would get like, I used to get mad. I used to argue with people. Baby, I used to box. Back in the cut, when I first started going live, baby, I would be up in here talking crazy off the dome. And but I really had to sit with myself and I had to think about why am I acting like this? And what I realized in it was I felt like people weren't listening to me. I felt like people were completely like going over my head because they didn't want to hear what I had to say because they love this character so much. And who am I to da-da-da-da and blah, 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 blah. You know, and I felt like it was an attack on me because they didn't want to hear this about this character. And then I started kind of getting like, okay, well, why are we da-da-da-da? You know what I mean? And it really, like, I'm telling you, it made me sit down with myself and be like, why am I responding to people in the manner in which I am responding to them? And it really made me feel like that's the power of Charmed, no pun intended, where you can, even in a character that you don't necessarily see yourself in, you can still find pieces of yourself. And I think that's why we love this show, is because we can find pieces of ourselves in all of them. Because Piper was a character who was very overlooked. Piper was a character who genuinely was overlooked at certain points. And when I sat back and I looked at that, I was like, oh, dang. See how that came full circle? You see how that happened? You see how that happened? And I say all this to say she never was overlooked. She literally was. She literally was. by the story, by her, like she was taken for granted by her sisters. Like, let's be honest about the situation. Let's be honest about the situation. That's what we love so much about her, is she is the one that was like your mom. She was the one who was like your sister. She was the one who would come to you and, you know, tell you like, girl, are you okay? Like and you kind of take that for granted because that's just Piper. Piper is just always the one that's she's trying to tell you about stuff, whatever else, blah, 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 blah. And the story actually looks over Piper, I think, a lot more than we realize. But we're going to get into that. Before we get into our full discussion, I just want to say thank you for being here, number one. If you would like to subscribe to my YouTube, please feel free to do so. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on pretty much anywhere. Anywhere you search They Call Me Mr. G, you can follow me. If you're not following me on here, then you should. I think you should. Because you ain't got nothing else to do, so you should. You should just hit the little follow button. Anyway, you can also subscribe to my Patreon where we're doing a Charmed rewatch right now. But anyway, more details on that later. Let's get into Pippi. So, Pippi is the middle... Let me stop calling that lady Pippi. Piper is the middle sister. Was born... Well, she wasn't born the middle sister. You can't be born in the middle, can you? No. She was born, I guess, as the youngest, technically. And then she became the middle sister after Phoebe was born. Listen, okay. I'm not going to get into technicalities like that. But anyway, growing up, Piper was the middle sister. And Piper had her older sister, Prue, who was like Miss Popular Girl. She was the one who was the overachiever. She was the parent to the family, to her sisters. Like, she was always there for them. Phoebe was the irresponsible younger sister who, whether they ever want to admit it or not, was very coddled, who really kind of hadn't felt like there were no consequences for her actions. And Phoebe was the one who was just always getting attention because she was rambunctious and rebellious and boy crazy. And then in the middle, you have Piper Leanne Halliwell. That is not her middle name. That is one that I made up, and that is okay because it's canon now because I said it. Piper Leanne Halliwell was in the middle. Nothing special. She was Graham's little helper. She helped in the kitchen. She would get nervous at school and her sister would have to come help her to finish whatever, with speeches, things like that. Piper was very nervous in high school. She always, like, they had the most beautiful scene in season 8 where we see little Piper talking to Grams and she's just telling her like, what about them? And there's nothing special about me. And Grams tells her, but you've got gifts. So many gifts. And then we have to listen to that foolishness. And it's like, girl, shut up. Because you are not going to tell these folks that you... You are not going to tell these people that they got power, so shut up. Just stop trying to allude to stuff and just sit down somewhere. Please, I am begging you for the love of God. Anyway, so Piper was born with the power to... Now, I am just going to say freeze or stop time for the sake of this conversation. However, we did find out later on that her powers work through molecules and she slows them down. Later on, she speeds them up. So it's a molecular thing. Da-da-da-da. For the sake of this discussion, I am going to say freeze time. Okay? I am aware it is not freezing time, but that's what I'm going to call it. I'm not going to say molecular immobilization. That takes too much time. So I'm just going to say she was freezing things. So anyway, Piper had the ability to freeze time. And when we see her as a little girl, she's actually very, very gifted in it. Like, baby was freezing things on target. She could unfreeze stuff without even moving her hands. Like, that power was a part of her, if we being 100% honest with you. Like baby girl was in control and she was spicy. I love little Piper. And y'all, listen, if you've never ever seen me do my impression of little Piper, it is funny because she's like, if your will we find we prove it. Who are you talking to? Because it can't be me. You cannot possibly be talking to me like that. If you will find we prove it. What are we gonna do when we see a bad guy? I'm gonna freeze him. You gonna what, baby? You know what? She was about that action. We knew when she put them hands up, something was going to happen. That's all we needed. Can she say it? No. But we knew something was going to happen. Anyway, Piper loses her mother. Her and her sisters lose their mother at a very, I'm talking fast. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to calm myself down. I'm telling you, I'm very excited talking about this. So I'm trying to bring myself down. Okay. The ADHD is not going to ADHD us tonight. Anyway, so they lost their mother at a very young age. And at that point, you know, they were being raised by their grandmother. Now, another important thing to remember in their story, thank you for the heart. Another important thing to remember in their story is that a demon was after them when they were very young and their powers were bound. So essentially what that means is we ain't got no access to magic. We can't freeze nothing. We can't make no spells. We can't write no potions. Nothing. So essentially she was raised as a mortal child. Although later on they do kind of tell us that she was being attacked. Her and her sisters were being attacked by demons, but kind of not. That's its own little inconsistency. Anyway, y'all, if I seem manic right now, I'm telling you, I am so hyped up to talk. Okay, Galen, bring it. Come on, baby, focus. Come on. Do some self-soothing techniques, child. Come on, do some self-soothing techniques, child. Okay, all right. When we begin the television program Charmed that aired from 1998 to 2006, Piper and her sister Prue had just moved back into their childhood home. Their grandmother passed away 6 months prior. They moved out the house. They came back. Phoebe, the youngest sister, moves back in after moving to New York. That's where our story begins, and that's how we meet Piper. Now, here's the thing about Piper that's very interesting in the beginning of the series. The first episode of Charmed does an amazing job of setting her character up. Piper's very timid. Piper does not like to really try to over insert herself. So like her sister Prue is pretty much the dominant sister. Phoebe comes home and Phoebe is giving Prue a run for her money, where Piper was afraid to even tell Prue that Phoebe was coming home because she was scared she was going to change the locks. So that just lets you know a little bit of their relationship. That lets you know just a little bit of what was going on. Piper is also a character who, although we see her looking for love, she has a boyfriend in episode 1 who turns out to be a demon. And what's so funny is, and I didn't realize this until we were watching it today on my Patreon, Piper literally did not get upset about the fact that Jeremy was gone. She vanquished that man and then moved on. And I'm just like, girl, you've been dating this man for 6 months. You're not gonna like cry. You're not gonna snot. You're not gonna something. Like, can you do something to show me that you cared about this man? Because right now it's just giving like, girl. Piper said, we got to get it done. And I've never thought about that before until today. Like, Piper immediately, I don't know whether that was her mind, like, shutting down towards it and just being like, I don't really have time to deal with this. Or if she was just like, listen, the man's a demon. I ain't got time for this. We got to figure something out from the jump. Anyway, in season 1, what we really see Piper grappling with is being a witch and what that means for her and her life. We see Piper go through stages of it throughout the entire show, but season 1 is really her grappling with how is magic going to interfere with her everyday life. She does not want to be a witch. She is afraid. First, she's afraid that she's evil. She doesn't really understand magic. She's the only one who takes the time to go through like Phoebe is reading the book from a place of excitement, but Piper is reading it from a place of, like, I think your normal average person would, as like, do you see the stuff in this book? Do you actually see what's coming after us? Because I think her and Phoebe have, you're gonna hear me bring up Phoebe with Piper a lot, because Phoebe and Piper are really the same person to me. They're just different parts of the same person. Piper is the anxious, emotional, neurotic part of this person, and Phoebe is the fun-seeking, fun-loving, adventure-seeking part of that person. And that's why they're like freaking Frank. And I think later on in the series, what we kind of see is they're different sides of the same coin. Exactly. That's why you're gonna hear me bring up Phoebe a lot, because Piper and Phoebe kind of have opposing thought processes on the same thing, but they kind of view it the same way, right? And so let's start with being a witch, because that's what we've already been talking about. Phoebe is going through the book, and she is so excited looking at the spells and the potions and what's going to make her different and unique. And she stands out from the crowd, and she's not going to be like every other person that she sees walking on the streets. Piper wants to be like every person that she sees walking on the street. She doesn't look at the book and see adventure and excitement. She looks at the book and she's like, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is we're going to have to do? Do you see these things that are going to be coming after us? And that's why another reason I think Piper is so relatable as a human being, because you do have people who are naturally going to be excited about something new, but your average run-of-the-mill thing and reaction to that is going to be fear. Because, girl, what do you mean? Demons are going to be knocking down the door every other day. What do you mean we're finna have to, like... who? Not I. And that's why we see Piper struggling so much, and that's why we see Phoebe comforting her. Because another thing that's important to remember in their familial dynamics is Prue is their oldest sister. Now, Prue is not older than she's not like 10, 15 years older or whatever. She's only a couple of years older than Piper. She's the farthest away from Phoebe. I think they're like 5 years apart. Her and Piper are only like 2 or 3 years apart. But Prue was put in a place where she had to basically serve as a parent to Piper and Phoebe while they were growing up. And so Piper does a lot of defaulting to Prue. And so what do I mean? Somebody said I'm confused by you. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what's confusing you. Anyway, so what am I trying to say? What do I mean by defaulting? What do I mean by defaulting to her? You can see it in little moments on like a micro level when they're trying to figure out what they're finna go do after the lights go out, right? So Prue wants to go down to the basement, go check the breaker board. She wants to see what's going on with the lights. She's trying to take charge, and she's trying to figure out from a realistic standpoint and a rooted standpoint how to get the lights back on, right? And that's important. Phoebe is also trying to take charge by going up to the attic. So she's literally going up to their magical destiny and trying to get in there because the spirit board has just told her attic. Piper, as usual, is caught in the middle. And what does she do? She goes with Prue. She goes rooted in the world. She does not go towards her destiny. I know that is so dramatic. I know that is so dramatic. And I know that is such an extra thing to bring up. But I'm so serious when I say that that's Piper. That is Piper in a nutshell. She does not go towards destiny. She does not go towards the unknown. She does not go towards things that she doesn't know what's going to be up there. Even though Phoebe is going up there. She's going to go with Prue. I'm going to go down there where I know where the breaker box is. We just going to have to figure it out together. We're just going to have to work. We just going to have to something. That's what Piper defaults to. She goes with Prue. And that, I think, sets the tone really for their relationship, and really why whenever Piper and Phoebe do something together, they are typically a little boisterous. Like, that's where we bring in the boisterous side of Piper, is when Phoebe is kind of telling her, like, girl, you need to let loose. You need to let your hair down. You need to breathe for a second. You need to X, Y, and Z. And that's when we see Piper, like, finally coming into, like, breathing room territory. And then in the end, Prue will come in and she'll kind of like, not gather them, but she comes in like she probably always has and kind of corral them or whatever. But the thing about Phoebe is, and this is not a Phoebe discussion, but for Phoebe, she brings that out in both of them. She brings that out in Prue and Piper, but it's always separately. It's never together. And I think that's because Piper and Prue feed off of each other in the same way Piper and Phoebe do. So to me, Piper is always kind of like the grounding force for her relationships with her sisters. Prue is domineering. Prue is very in your face, whatever else, right? But you can't be like that unless you have someone that's following you, that's hyping you up, that's allowing you to do that. And so Piper is that person for Prue. Now, am I saying that Piper's a pushover? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Piper is kind of like Prue's second in command, essentially, right? And so for Phoebe, she has this boisterous, like, I'm just going to do kind of whatever I want to attitude, but she's got Piper that she can kind of pull in and say, Piper, don't you just want to experience it one time? So Piper's got the best of both worlds. She's got a parent, but she also has a start about her dynamic with both of her sisters is she's being in the middle. She literally can take from both of them and she pulls different things out of both of them and pulls different things from both of those relationships. That's why Piper is the heart of the family. Like, that's why Piper is literally the heart of the family. Is she's able to let both of her sisters be themselves around her. Even for, so let's get into her and Prue's relationship for a minute. Okay, this is gonna stress me out talking about this. Okay. Here's something that I really want us to keep in mind when we talk about Prue. And I see there are a lot of people in here, so I'm so glad that everyone is going to hear me say this at one time. It is insane to say out loud that Piper needed her sister to go on to glory or wherever she went for Piper to grow as a person. And I mean that. I really do mean that. I seriously mean that. And my main reason for saying that is Piper is someone who, listen, I said glory, child. I had to go back and take that back. But Piper is someone who values her relationships with her sisters. She is someone who truly, truly values her family. To look at this woman and say that she needed her sister to go for her to grow. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's another reason that Piper is in a unique situation in the show, because her personality doesn't really shift. Okay, the way that we perceive it shifts, but Piper remains the same person. Piper still doesn't want to be a witch. Piper is still sassy at the mouth. Piper is still, she's still going to be a family person. The only difference after Prue is gone is that she's more assertive with herself. We see her start to become more assertive in season 2 and 3, because even season 2 and 3 Piper are different from season 1 Piper. And we'll kind of go back to season 1 Piper and kind of do a little breakdown. But the reason that it bothers me so bad when people say Piper needed her sister to go on to the afterlife so that she could grow as a person is genuinely because I think that takes away from her as a person. I really do. I don't think that that gives her enough credit. And it's one thing to say that Piper was put in a situation where she had to do different things than she did before, right? Because one big thing that's important to remember in their family is that her and Prue don't have a normal big sister, little sister relationship. Prue is literally made into be their parent. So when Piper loses Prue, it's just like when she loses Grams and she doesn't know what to do. Piper essentially, when she loses Prue, is like a little girl who has no parents left. if we're being 100% honest, because Victor never raised them. Victor did not raise them. So from Piper's perspective, the people that raised her are gone completely, like completely. And that's why I want us to remember that calling her the big sister, the oldest, Piper's the oldest living child. And the big difference between the oldest child and the oldest living child, to me, is, I will upload this to YouTube. Yes. The thing about being the oldest living child versus the oldest child, Prue, as the oldest, was given a specific way that she needed to interact with her sisters. Grams shaped the way that she saw her relationship with her sisters. Piper, as the oldest living child, while they were in the middle of a tumultuous situation, felt like they needed that leadership, and she molded her mind after what she saw as the oldest sister. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? When we see her like standing up and, oh, she clocked in and she this and that, that's not naturally Piper. That's the, and the thing is, that's okay. I want to say that going, like, before I say anything else, it's fine that that's not Piper. That's not who she is. She became what she saw as a reflection of Prue. This is what I saw Prue do. This is what I saw Grams do. This is what I saw this person do, who was always assertive, who always took care of us. This is what I saw this individual, that individual do. So what we see is not actually Piper. That's Piper cosplaying as somebody else. Season 5 is when we start to see the real Piper. Season 5, season 6 is when we see Piper. As she is as a person. She's not having to put on a front anymore. She's not having to be what she thinks the older sister is because they have this thing after them. That's not what she has to do anymore. They don't need that. And so that's why once the dust starts to settle from the source being gone and from everything else, Piper can just be a person. Because we kind of see her, we see Piper, I think, more as an adult version of, in season 5 and 6 going forward, than we see the adult version of seasons 1 through 3 Piper. That is my personal viewpoint on that. We are seeing her in her fully digivolved form. We started out with Salomon, and now we have Anja Woman. Like, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? And we are seeing Anja Piper after season 4. That is our girl. And I love that though, because it feels like she doesn't have to put on a mask anymore. She doesn't have to do that, because going back to her relationship with Prue, the reason I feel like people don't unintentionally, I don't think that people do it intentionally, but what people are unintentionally doing when they say that Piper couldn't have grown without losing Prue is they're saying that Piper wasn't capable of it. And again, that's not what they're intentionally saying, but the undertone of it is that Piper wasn't capable. No, Piper was very capable. Piper was going to eventually find love. She was going to eventually become a mother if she chose to. She was going to become a more secure person eventually. Sometimes we just have to grow up, because Piper was only 26 when the show started. Like, she was very, very young. I mean, she was 25, 26. She was very young. And if you tell me that you are now, because, okay, I'm 33. I just turned 33. 33-year-old me is not the same person that 25-year-old me was in any shape, form, or fashion. I still have the same basic characteristics. I'm still the same person essentially, but I have more life experience. I have had things that happened that changed my view, that made me change the way I view myself, and here we are, right? So, just from like a personal standpoint, 25-year-old me never would have been on here talking to y'all, baby. I'm gonna tell you that right now. 25-year-old me didn't think that what he had to say was valuable. Genuinely, I didn't think what I had to say was valuable enough. And at 33 now, I realize if you don't agree with it, you just don't agree with it. If you do, then you do. And I'm not going to try to make myself feel bad because, oh, well, I said something and this person doesn't agree with it. And I think that that's what Piper is going through on the show. In the same way, again, it goes back to Phoebe. How Phoebe is the person that we're growing up with on the show. Piper is the person that we are growing into on the show. And we see Piper and she's timid. And by the end of it, baby, she'll read you down beneath the ground. And she don't think twice about it. Because losing Prue was only a piece of the puzzle. But becoming a mother, becoming a wife, and then just growing up taught her, okay, what I have to say is valuable too. Even in season 3, when we're watching them in Power Outage and everyone is expressing how Piper, how they've taken advantage of her unintentionally and how it has affected her and how she has just repressed it essentially. We watch them acknowledge that, and that helps her to realize, like, okay, I can't keep putting myself to the side. I can't keep putting my feelings and my emotions to the side because I'm not going to have anything to pour into everyone else if I don't have anything to pour into me. And that's why, if anything, it's not necessarily losing Prue that I think made Piper step up, or whatever phrase you want to use. It was magic itself. It was magic because magic forced Piper to reevaluate what was important in her life. Magic was what made her sit back and say, okay, how do I want to approach this situation? Because if I want to have children, I'm going to have to protect this child from magic. But I also know that I want this child to have magic in their life, right? And so we see her go through those struggles, and we see her have to sit down and have to actually evaluate things instead of just being like, oh, well, somebody else can do it. Oh, well, somebody else can do. Oh, well, Phoebe can be the one that I can send to go say this for me. Oh, well, Prue is just going to blah, 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 blah. It made her stop relying on everyone else, not just Prue. It made her stop relying on people, and it made her stop relying on how she could operate with another person, because unfortunately, Piper is also a character who gets tied to other people. Her storyline is in some shape, form, or fashion tied to another person. It's either Leo or Wyatt. It's one of the two of them in some shape, form, or fashion. Every moment of development for her is almost tied to another person. So in season 2, we see Phoebe as she's going back to college. We see Phoebe as she is starting to learn who she is as a person, and she's starting to find herself in the world, right? And in that same season where we're getting that, and in that same season where we are watching Prue quit her job, and we're watching Prue start to go into this realm of chasing her passion and things like that, we're watching Piper as she builds the club with her sisters. We're watching Piper as she's in a love triangle with Dan and Leo. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's even in storylines that have them tied to someone else, they still have their own individual growth in some shape, form, or fashion. They still have their own individual thing. Piper, in some fashion, is always tied to another person. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, because some people are just like that, Like, some people just so happen to be like that. But Piper always has Leo. She's got her sisters. She's got Wyatt. She's got Chris. She's losing Leo and she's motivated to get Leo back. She's trying to make sure that Wyatt is okay. We're trying to help protect Chris. Piper is always part of something with someone. And season 4, I think, is a good example of that, because while we're sitting there, we're watching her getting to know Paige, right? We're watching her get to know Paige. We are watching her try to shape herself into what she thinks an older sister should be. We are watching her try to navigate what this world post-Prue looks like. We are watching her try to figure out what their next move is, and she has no idea which way to go from here, right? And through it all, Piper doesn't get a chance to sit down and really just breathe and see what the world is, because there's always a fight. There's something on the horizon. There's the source on the horizon. And then when they actually think that they're good for about a half a second, and they think for about a half a minute, okay, we're good. We can start focusing on things now. Now we can focus on having a family. We can focus on Phoebe, getting a family. We can focus on moving on with our lives. What happens? Cole is the source. Now we got to deal with that. Now we got to go there. Now we have to figure out how to navigate with Phoebe, how to get rid of the source. Now we have to go through that. Then, right when that happens, after that happens, and our girl is finally given a moment to breathe, well, baby, you're pregnant now. Well, baby, you're pregnant now. So it's like now what? When is Piper just gonna get to be a person? Please, when is Piper gonna get a chance to just be a person? Season 1, I think, is the only time in the show where Piper is literally just a single person who is navigating the world. Now, what's interesting about that, though, is in season 1, although she's just a young person navigating the world, she's having to also learn about this magical world with her sisters. So she's at a point in her life where this is kind of naturally the point in life where they should be splitting off, right? This is sort of the point in life where they should each be going to find themselves, where they should each be, something like that, because they're at that like mid to late 20 period, and so they're adults now and whatever else, but now they have this shared magical destiny and they have to come together. So even in Piper having a time where she's trying to find happiness, well, now I gotta fight with my sisters. Well, next to my sisters, you know what I mean? Like me and my sisters, basically, we got to form this team. Our power relies on each other. We can't do nothing without the other two. And it's like, even in that, that's what I mean when I say she always has someone to fold herself into. Prue and Phoebe can do the monster hunting, and then they just, like she even says in season 3, she's just the one who tags along and freezes people. Now, while I don't think that that's true, and I think that is just her internal voice finally coming out and her finally expressing it, I don't think that that's actually true. It's telling that that's the way she sees herself. She sees herself as just being the one who's there to freeze things for them and then say to do a power 3 spell. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying when I say, okay, so I see y'all saying that she wasn't confident in herself and her power at the time, and that's a very good point. Season 3 is the first time we hear Piper really talk about how she views herself as a witch in any real prominent way. Like, not just saying like, oh, I don't want to be a witch, oh, this and that, and blah, 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 blah. We're going to get into the potions thing in a minute too. That's the first time that Piper outwardly expresses to another individual that this is how I view myself. I don't actually think I serve a purpose in the power of 3. Even when she comes back at the beginning of season 3, she's just like, okay, I was gone for it. And from her mind, it's like, I was gone for a day. Y'all couldn't handle this for a day. And like the world done fell apart without this lady. But she doesn't think that it's gonna be that way, because in her mind, child, I'm just the one that pays the bills. I'm just the one who does X, Y, and Z. I'm just the one who does this. I'm just. No, baby, you are. You're not just the one who does this. You are the one who does this. You are the one who keeps this going, that going. You are the person you are. You're not just. And that's what finally clicks in her mind, is she's not just the person who does this. She's not just Wyatt's mother. She is Wyatt's mother. She's not just Piper. She is Piper. And once those wheels get to turning, baby, our girl is good to go. Now with the potions thing, here's something I really want us to keep into consideration. And y'all finna get mad at me. And I know y'all finna get mad at me. And that's okay, because I still love y'all too. Piper did not become a potions master until season 4. And that's not anything bad in and of itself. That's nothing to like, I'm not saying that as shade. I'm not saying that as like, oh, well, no, what I'm saying is that when we went into season 4, because Paige was coming into this dynamic, and Paige was coming into, thank you, and Paige was coming into this dynamic, we were trying to establish a team-like setting. We were trying to establish how everyone works together. Prue and Phoebe had always been the ones who really did the potions. Just keeping it a buck. Prue and Phoebe had always been the ones who did the potions. They took turns writing the spells. For whatever reason, Prue would make flowcharts, and I ain't never figured that out. I have never figured out what in God's name a flowchart was gonna help us for in every single situation. Girl, sit down. Stop making a flowchart, okay? Stop making a flowchart. We don't need a flowchart. And but Piper would help in those things, right? Piper would help in those things. And once Prue was gone, it needed to be a little bit more evenly spread. Oh, thank you, Tyrone. Thank you. It needed to be more evenly spread. And so Piper suddenly became a potions master. On surface level, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I have no problem with that. I promise you, I have absolutely no problem with that lady suddenly being a potions master. None at all. My thing is always just when people act like she was always, like from episode 1, Mama was the potion. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. Let's slow our roll there, because she wasn't. Not from day 1. That didn't happen until season 4. Let's just go ahead and acknowledge that, and let's move on in life. I do think that was a missed opportunity from. You know what? No, actually, I don't. I actually don't think that was a missed opportunity, because you know what? As I'm talking about this, something is starting to click in my head with what I'm saying. Piper was never the potions master because she didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Piper was never a person who was overly invested in magic. And so it makes sense that she would help here, help there, but she wasn't actively like, oh, well, let me go make the potions. Let me put this together. Let me da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. And so after Prue is gone, and we really have to reshift the dynamics, and we have Paige coming in, and we need to show her things, it makes sense to divide and conquer. And so Piper, clearly, here's the thing about Piper that I think is important to remember in this discussion. Piper knew what she was doing. She just wasn't invested like them, right? Because what I was going to say was, they missed that opportunity to say that from the beginning that Piper was a chef, and You know, that's why she was good at potions, naturally gifted at potions. But then as I was listening to myself, as I was about to say that out loud, I started realizing like, no, it makes sense. It don't matter if she's naturally gifted at it. She didn't want to do it. It has nothing to do with being naturally gifted. She didn't want to do it. So I can be naturally gifted at something and just not do it. You know? And then one day have to do it. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, now I got to do it. So here we are. And so that's what I mean when I say it makes sense as I started thinking about that, because it makes sense to divide and conquer. Before, Piper was letting Prue and Phoebe do the heavy lifting. They were getting the visions. They were throwing the demons. They were writing the spells. They were making the potions. Prue was usually driving unless they got in a Jeep. And so there was always something where Piper could just fold herself into it. But now that the team is split, and Paige is coming into it and we have to teach her, they literally had to show different areas and be like, okay, I can't just let Phoebe be the one who does the potions. I can't just let Phoebe be the one who teaches her spells. No, Phoebe is going to work with her on the fighting. Phoebe is going, because I ain't got nothing to do with no fighting. And baby, that's another thing. The way people go up for a Tuesday and try to pretend like Piper was throwing hands because she did a flip one time in season 4. Baby, be for real. For real, that lady did a flip one time and we ain't never seen her do it again. I know she had to rub herself down with so much Bengay that night. I know that woman took every cream she could possibly get. She was like, just get me something. I don't care what it is. Get me some Bengay. Get me some Advil and crush it up and put it in the water. I don't care what it is. Get me something so I can rub it. That woman was hurt. Do you understand me? I know that woman, and you want to know how I know that? I was a big person and I was stiff. Now Holly is not, Piper is nowhere big. Piper is not big anywhere, but Piper is stiff. And when you are a stiff person, when you are a stiff individual, girl, I take my tail somewhere and do something I ain't never done before, girl, bye. I'm gonna have to put on more braces in a little bit. I'm gonna have to rub myself down, take more hot showers and baths. Child, it's gonna look like you boiling a chicken by the time I got to get myself together and steam the pain about these joints. I'm telling you. So I couldn't imagine, for the love of God, having to do a flip. Girl, goodbye. 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 And that's what I mean. That's what I appreciate about Piper. And that's why I said what I said earlier. It's hard to talk about her sometimes because I think that people think that things like that are an attack on her. Like, no, don't do Mother because Mother could fight. No, Mother could do Mother could do Mother could. Mother didn't want to. That's the point of her character. Mother didn't fight because Mother didn't have to and because she didn't want to. Mother wasn't going to go do spells every 5 minutes because Mother didn't want to. That's the point of her character. That's why we love her. And so it's like those things that actually make her more relatable and lovable as a character, I think people take as like an attack. If you say like, well, Phoebe was the one who was writing, you know, the spells most of the time, and then Paige kind of took it up later on. It's like, no, because Piper could do the spells. No one said Piper couldn't do the spells, baby. And I think again, that goes to, we as a fan base personalize our favorite character. And so when we hear that a character doesn't do, we hear they can't do. Right? Not the fearless spell, because you know I hate that spell. That's why, listen, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And when Piper got up in there and said, locked in, boxed in, full of air, my panic grows manic till I can't hear. Put the chalk down, baby. Put the chalk down, baby. Put the chalk down. Put the chalk down. Put the chalk down. Don't write on the walls no more. Don't do that anymore. Don't write on the walls anymore. Don't do that. Because we don't need that anymore. We don't need that. Thank you. Thank you. Put the chalk down. But then sometimes Prue would eat though, right? Piper would eat. Piper absolutely would. Because when she hit that love spell in season 6, when she hit us with seducing that guard, she ate. She absolutely 100% ate with that spell. And that's what I mean when I say, like, they're all capable. They just have different strengths. And I think the thing to remember in a show like Charmed is that they work together because they had different strengths. It doesn't work if every single person can do this, because what are we using as a team? Because people will argue me that they didn't like Prue because, oh well, Prue was always this and that and da da da. The thing about a character like Prue is that was kind of her purpose in the show, was to be the one who was great at everything. That's why Piper has a complex towards her. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, Piper has a complex towards Prue. Whether we want to call it a complex or not, it's a complex because she idolizes her. We even see it in season 5, right? And that is such a good scene because I swear to God, every time I watch it, it gives me chills because in Sympathy for the Demon, you're going to hear me bring up that episode a lot if you follow me going forward because I love that episode so much. When Paige is trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how did y'all get rid of Barbas before? Piper and Phoebe say, we didn't. Prue did. But you want to know what's funny about that? Prue didn't get rid of nobody. We watched those episodes unfold. And the way Piper and Phoebe look at it is like, okay, Prue got rid of him. Prue this, Prue that. That's not what actually happened. The first time, Prue used her power on him and that sent him back to the whatchamacallit, right? To whatever he was. Season 2, they just waited it out. That's it. They just waited it out till midnight and the man went back. That's it. That's what happened. In a nutshell. But the reason that that's so important, and please do not take that opportunity to say, well, that's what I did when I say Prue was. That's not the point of that. The point of me saying that is Piper and Phoebe see Prue as being this bigger than person. They see Prue as being this larger than life entity who could just take out this powerful demon. They idolize her. Even when she comes in, even when Paige first comes into the house, she says, have you seen Prue's room? It's like a shrine. Prue had just gone on to the afterlife, child. What did you expect? Did you think that they were just going to throw the lady's stuff out as soon as she went? But narratively, what that's driving home to us and what that's reminding us of is that they don't want to move a thing because they idolize Prue. That's the point of her character, is that even when she wasn't doing something that was extraordinary, that's how Piper and Phoebe saw it, was extraordinary. And I think that's why that's why Prue gets such a bad rap. And people will be like, I couldn't stand Prue. Well, baby, that's fine that you can't stand Prue. Do you want a cookie? Do you want a sticker? Do you want me to send you a thing of juice in the mail? Like what is it that you need from me to help you in that moment? Because because the thing is that 33.6K like per. Look at y'all eating. Y'all over there getting carpal tunnel in them thumbs, liking the live. Occult paraphernalia. Anyway, so but thank you, Hussy, so much. The reason I bring all this up about Prue is to say Piper's character really is based in her family. You know what I'm saying? It's like when Paige gets there. Oh my sweet merciful God. The way people in 2024 will still say out loud that they hate Paige And Paige was just, I miss Prue so much because Paige wasn't the moment. Paige wasn't the move. Paige this, Paige that. If you don't like Paige, that's your own personal vendetta. I need us to remember that the show, this ain't Galen talking. This ain't me. This is not Galen. The show showed us what life was like without Paige. The person that they were, the people that they were without her. And I'm not just talking because, of course, when Cole takes them in Centennial Charm to this alternate world, parallel, whatever, this alternate universe where Paige was never there, of course, not having the power of 3 is going to be a big, huge thing, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them. Come on, Galen. Listen. Anybody named Galen? I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna follow everybody back. I want y'all to know that, like, if you follow me tonight, I am gonna follow you back. It may take me a while because ADHD, but I'm gonna follow you back. I promise you. I got you. A Lannister always pays his debts. But anyway, so what was I finna say? The show tells us that it's not even about, like, the demons taking over. Piper, we literally see that Piper was not able to move on from Prue's unalivement in this universe. Thank you. Piper was not able to move on, and she was so just eaten up with rage and a desire for revenge and bitterness and hatred, that she was just this monstrosity that was just like blowing her way through the city until she got to who she needed to get to. She was trying to find Shax because in her mind, now mind you, thank you, Tony. Now mind you, vanquishing Shax was not going to do anything. I need us to remember that. Vanquishing Shax was not going to do anything for this woman in the long run, because vanquishing him was not gonna get Cole up out the house. It was not gonna save Phoebe. It was not gonna bring Prue back. It was not gonna revitalize her lost marriage. That was not going to do any of that. Pippi wanted to vanquish Shax in retribution for Prue. She wanted to vanquish Shax in this. We're talking about season 5. We're talking about Centennial Charmed here. She wanted to vanquish him because he had taken everything from her. That's why she wanted revenge in that episode. And what that episode shows us, what Centennial Charm shows us, is that Paige being there helped her to work through that. Piper even literally says at one point that Paige saved that family. She was the reason that she was standing there right then. And she didn't mean that to say like, oh, well, without Paige, I just would be. What she was saying was Paige gave her an outlet. Because mind you, at this point, Piper and Phoebe are going through something together that they've never experienced before. Yes, they've lost their grandmother. Yes, they've lost their parents. But this is their sister. And another really important thing to remember, if you were here earlier, Prue was the last parent that Piper had, because Phoebe still had Piper. Phoebe still had a parent, and she was getting to look into Victor as her parent. So she had that parental resource to look to. Piper didn't have that. She was just getting to know Victor, but she wasn't getting to know him in the same way that Phoebe was. And she didn't have anyone else there that she could rely on. She literally lost everything in that moment. When we see her, we did this when we broke down each season. When Piper is sitting there in like this kind of lost daze, and she's like, I've always had a big sister and I don't know what to do without one. Come on, perfect speaker voice. Purr, come on. Yes, come on, me being Charlie. Let me tell my angels. Good morning, angels. Good morning, Charlie. Anyway, thank you. The thing about Piper in that moment is now this is how I interpret it. I feel like Piper took that moment and it was hitting her in that very second. I don't have that anymore. I don't know what my life is now because this person that I leaned on for my entire life is gone. I don't have that. And that lady was lost. That lady was lost. Now, I am not telling y'all that this is the end all be all. If you have a different perception, if you have a different whatever of that scene, interpretation of it, please feel free to tell me in a respectful manner. But to me, I think that's what one of the things from that moment was her realizing, like, who am I now? Like, who's gonna be there for me? Who am I going to lean on? Who am I going to look to? And not just in a leadership way, not just in a whatever, but who's gonna take care of me, essentially? You know what I mean? Like, who is going to be there for me when things get rough? That's my thing. And that's why I think, again, it's really important for Piper to make that distinction that she is the oldest living sister versus the oldest sister. Because I think that sort of in Piper's mind, and I think that's what the viewers do too. And I don't mean that as like a knock towards anybody, but I think that we take her and we move her into, it's like, okay, here's the oldest sister. This was Prue. Okay, Prue's gone. Here's Piper. That's not how being the oldest works. That's not how that works. You don't get you don't just start being something because someone else is gone. Prue wasn't their mother. She was like a mother, but Prue didn't take the place of their mother. And just in that same exact fashion, Piper was not the oldest sister. She was the oldest living sister. And that's why she put that pressure on herself to try to be what she saw Prue as. Because in that moment she was thinking, or maybe she wasn't thinking, I don't know what she was thinking, but Piper saw it as, I needed to, so Prue was never mom. Did we watch the same show? Did we watch the same show? I don't think we did, but that kind of stuff is so funny to me because oh God in heaven, oh sweet merciful Jesus. No, but anyway, the problem with this show is, and in Piper's viewpoint, in that it goes back to Grams. I'm sorry, and y'all gonna be mad at me for this probably, and I'm sorry if you are, but Grams set these people up real bad. Grams set them up real bad because Grams put them in a predicament where Prue was parentified and was expected to put herself by the wayside so that she could take care of her sisters. And that created a dependence on her that especially affected Piper. I think Phoebe was okay-ish, but she kind of latched on. We see her latch on Nicole, but that's for the Phoebe discussion. That's gonna be the Phoebe discussion next week when we talk about Thebes. But for Piper, that made her latch on to Prue in a way that you would latch on to a mother. Looking to them to make decisions for you. The train Texas, I know, hold them. But that made her look to her to make decisions. That made her look to her to say, okay, do I have your approval to do this? Do I this and that? Grams did that. And that's why we see Piper struggling so hard with losing Prue, because she had a parent in her mind. Because even when they lose Grams, right, they still have each other. They still have each other to lean on. It's not as bad because they're adults and they can look to each other for some kind of comfort, right? It's a this move because they still have each other. But like I said earlier, Piper still has a parent in her mind because she still has Prue. Phoebe is good because she still got both her parents in her mind. She still got her sisters. Even though she sees Piper as a sister, Piper is also a parent. Let's just be 100% honest. Piper is also a parent to her. But Piper's the fun parent. She's cool mom. She's the one that you go to her house and you can eat ice cream for dinner. Like, it's giving very practical magic going to the aunt's house, right? Whereas Prue is like the stern, and I told you to sit your right now before that's Prue. And so that's why she has such different dynamics with them. And Prue is the last person that Piper has that she can look to in that manner. Because she's the only one who's in their senior, because they have a big thing about seniority that I don't think they don't ever really talk about. They don't ever really like say it, but they very much have a tier. They very much have a ladder in their family where it's like the oldest sister does this, the middle sister does that, and then the youngest one. You see what I'm like? They have that hierarchy. They just aren't necessarily aware of it. And so it just comes to light in season 4. And I think that that's why people think that Piper needed to lose Prue, is because we're aware of that hierarchy. We are, because we're not living it. We're just viewing it on TV. I mean, they're not living it either because they're fictional characters, but you know what I'm saying. Don't play with me like that. But because we're on the outside looking in, it's easy to be like, oh, well, Piper would never be able to X, Y, and Z if Prue was still there, because the way the hierarchy works. I want you to imagine. I want us all to like take a breath for a second, and I want us to think about this before you ever tell somebody again that Prue needed to go. If you had a sister or a brother or someone in your life that took care of you, and someone told you that person needed to go on to the next life so that you could grow into the person that you're meant to be, would you be like, well, thank you, I appreciate that? Well, I'm so glad your sister went on to the afterlife, honey. You've just been doing so good ever since. Baby, you've just been doing so good ever since then. I'm so proud of you. How would you feel? How would that feel? Would you be mad? Would you be upset? Because I think that you would. Because I know I would. And my sister is the youngest. And if somebody told me that about my sister, told my sister that about me, I can tell you right now, everything will be gone. What did Sasuke say? Burn it all away. Gone. Gone. If anyone in this chat right now, including myself, told this lady right here that her sister, we were so proud of her sister for being gone because she could finally grow into the leader that she needed to be, that lady would blow us to smithereens. You would have about 5 cute seconds before you saw this and you saw this. It would just be, baby, it would not be good. And I think that's because that's such a she wouldn't freeze anybody, baby. She'd be using the other power. And I think that's because that's such a ridiculous statement to make. It's such a ridiculous statement to make that this lady's sister needed to go to the afterlife so that she could grow. Let's be for real, y'all. It was not a necessity. It was not something that was going to be a precursor to her growth, and she would never grow if she didn't get it. And if Prue was around, she could never be, and she could never do, and she could never this, and she could never that. Piper was going to be just fine with or without Prue. And like I said before, it does her such a disservice as a person, as a character, to say that she needed her sister gone. Because Piper was going to grow into an individual that she could be proud of, whether her sister was there or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, I actually think that that would have been an arc for Prue. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the same way that we are saying, not we, I mean, we're not saying that, you know, we're good. We know what's going on in life. Piper, depending on Prue, is fine. But in the same way, Prue depended on Piper. So are we going to say that Prue was never going to grow out of being bossy and whatever else unless Piper had gone on to the lower room? You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting out? Because my thing is, if anything, Piper changing as a character would have been a storyline to show us how much Prue was in a completely different space. Because as Piper started to become more independent and started to focus on her own life and become her own person, Prue was going to try to figure out, okay, so where does that leave me now? Phoebe don't need me anymore, because Phoebe was always going to be independent. And we knew that from the jump. Phoebe don't need me anymore. Now Piper is in a place where, especially once Piper became a mother, she was not going to rely on Prue's instincts. She was going to rely on her own. Because here's the thing about it. She didn't necessarily rely on Prue in the way I think people think she did. She relied on attributes that Prue had. She relied on Prue's intellect. She relied on Prue's confidence. She relied on Prue's leadership capabilities. She relied on Prue's decisiveness. That was what Piper relied on. She relied on parts and pieces of Prue that once she developed in herself, she was going to be just fine. Developed and refined. Let me say that. Developed and refined. She was going to be just fine. And so once Prue got to a point where Piper developed that on her own and she didn't need her, that was going to put Prue in a tailspin. Okay, well, who am I leading now? Who am I the parent over now? Who am I going to be the one who X, Y, and Z over now? That was going to be her storyline had Prue lived, in my opinion, is where do I go from here now that my sisters are adults? Now that they are these independent people who don't need me to do this for them anymore. We saw, even though I know season 3, thank you for the gifts, by the way, even though we see in season 3 that they really were setting it up for Prue to get up out of there, I think we were also starting to see the seeds of what the future was going to hold. Piper was getting married. She didn't need Prue to necessarily guide her and lead her anymore because she was a wife now. You know? Even Prue says, like, y'all don't need me as much, and so I'm trying to figure out where my life is going from here. And Phoebe's like, we'll always need you, Prue. But that's not true. Because they were starting to grow up. This is the thing to remember about them. Like I said before, thank you, Prince J. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the thing to remember about them. Y'all, these people are young. When Prue got up out of here, she was 30. They had been witches for 3 years at that point. So at the start of the series, Prue was 28. I was 28 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Piper was like 26. Phoebe was like 23. These people were young when this show started. And that leaves so much room for growth. They were still in a stage of life where They needed that guy. Thank you, Tyrante. They needed that guidance. And Prue was the person who gives it to them. Because here's the thing, and it's kind of like, you know how we talk in season 8 about, and we're finna get to Piper and Leo, because, oh, Jesus in heaven. You know how we talk in season 8 about how stupid it was that Destiny needed to take Leo from her to make her fight the good fight? Do you know how you know how we say how stupid that was? Come here. What that fine man say on the internet? Come here. You know how we say in season 8 how stupid that sounded? That they needed to take her husband from her to make her fight the good fight. I need us to think about this for a second. If we say that it sounds crazy to take her husband from her to make her fight the good fight, then what makes you think that it makes sense to say that they needed to take her sister from her to make her fight the good fight? Are we all on the same page? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Are y'all picking up what I am putting down? We can't call out one and then say the other one is right. That doesn't, come on. Come on. That was crazy. That was crazy. In the same way that it's crazy to say that her husband, this man, a man. Okay. Come here, baby. Let me hold your head. It's crazy to say that they needed to take a man from her, right? Okay. You listening? Are you listening, sweetness? Then what makes you think that it's okay to say that they needed to take her sister from her, baby? The thing is, it's not like this was season 1 Piper, right? This was season 8 Piper. So this was surly Piper, child. So if you telling me that they had to take Leo from that woman to make her stir up the good fight in season 8, then goddamn, what did we think? Because it's given that they thought she was incompetent. I'm just being honest. I'm just being 100% honest with you. I'm just being 100% honest with you, is that it's giving, we think the lady is incompetent. And and we need to take somebody from her that she loves, because that's the only way. That's the only thing that's going to spur her into action. And that's what I mean when I say, like, let's be for real. Y'all, we've been talking for an hour and a half. Oh my God. Let's take a break. Does anybody need to go to the bathroom, child? Does anybody need to something? Does anybody need to just take a rest? Because my God in heaven, we done went over a lot so far with this lady. And we still got to go over her and this man. We still got to go over her and this man. Not the diapers, Jesus. Not a smoke break. I mean, perm. Take an intermission. Exactly. Child, we need to listen. Y'all, I started talking so good, I was sweating. Y'all, I started talking so good, I done started sweating, Jesus, and I ain't even realize it. When I tell y'all, I done started talking good, child. Woo! Baby, I didn't realize we was talking so good. Oh my God. Because you didn't have to be this loud. Shut up. No. Heck. Now? Okay. We're going to get this. Oh my God. We done went through some things, child. Y'all need to subscribe to my YouTube, please. Next show after children coming into their yeah, maybe, I don't know. Come on, church. Listen. I with the funeral. So next week, y'all, we're gonna get into into Phoebe and Paige. So next Wednesday will be Phoebe, and then next Thursday will be Paige. So in case I forget that, somebody please remind me that I said that, because I feel like I just lied to y'all. I feel like I just lied. But no, next Wednesday will be Phoebe and next Thursday will be Paige. I'm not sure what next Saturday's topic will be just yet, but when we get there, I'll let y'all know. Because I go live every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then we do Sister Wives on Sunday, but I know y'all don't want to watch Sister Wives. But if you do, I mean, please stop by. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday is when we talk. Usually Thursdays are like a non-charmed live. That's what I'm starting to move into. But because I want to finish this series while I have the momentum, yeah. So we did Prue like, oh God, 2 weeks ago, because I took a week off this past week for my birthday, or right after my birthday. So, we did Prue, God, week before last, something like that. Listen, we love us some Sister Wives over here, Liz, child. But yeah, so, yo, I'm sorry, I got hot. I'm telling y'all, when I get to talking. But yeah, so I go live every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Oh my God, what am I trying to say? Every Tuesday, we have a live. We have a Zoom. I have a Zoom with my supporters on Patreon. And sometimes we watch Charmed, sometimes we don't. It just kind of depends. I did just start a Charmed rewatch on Patreon. So, that's part of a tier that you may want to go explore, because there's a lot of good things happening over there, but I'm not going to harp on that because I know y'all might not whatever about that, but you should go check out my Patreon. If you don't do anything else, just go subscribe to my YouTube. I talk about Charmed, I talk about Wicked City, I talk about a little this, a little that, some supernatural stuff. I also have another page where I'm just gonna start doing some vlog stuff. It's called Real Life with G. It's in the link in my bio. It's not even in the link, it's in my bio. Like, you just press it, go to it. That's all you gotta do. And just go to my YouTube. That's all you gotta do. If you want to support me. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. Y'all, I'm telling you, I am hyped up like I'm on some Mountain Dew, child. My God in heaven. Chip, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey. I'm all hyped up on Mountain Dew. But yeah, yep. But yes, so before we get back into this discussion, I do want to highlight, thank you, Catherine, for saying that. It is on the Warren Line tier only. That is the one that the Charm Rewatch is available on. But you can join my Patreon as a free member too, just so you can get updates and know what's going on. So thank you, Catherine. And as to what Mia said about not putting the sisters against each other, I don't care for statements like Piper, this sister, we didn't need Paige, we didn't need Phoebe, we didn't need this sister, we didn't need da-da-da-da, or Piper could solo. That's not what we do around here. That's not what we do. We don't talk about that kind of stuff. And by the way, we don't talk about the behind the scenes drama. I don't, that ain't got nothing to do with me. We weren't there. Child, we done all heard it. I just like talking about the show as a show. I just like to talk about what happened on this program as opposed to what happened behind the scenes. It's P3 for a reason. Who is this? Is it Daylor? How you say that? I don't know how you say that, but you're gorgeous, by the way. But thank you. It was P3 for a reason, baby. Absolute 100% per. Very amazing point. So now that we got that out the way, and I done kind of calmed myself down, because baby, I don't know, I'm telling y'all, I'm hyped up tonight. I was so nervous to get on here tonight because I was like, oh my God, these people is gonna think that I am absolutely 100% crazy. Oh my Lord. But you know what? We having us a good old-fashioned night. So let me look at my notes, because I have notes. So, it's time to get into Piper's dating life and her love life. Here's the thing. Piper and Phoebe were both looking for the same thing. They were both looking for stability, and they were both looking for a familial unit that they did not grow up with. That you didn't have to do me like that. My stomach was growling, child. But they were both looking for that true love and that family that they felt like they were always chasing, whatever else. They both wanted that. But they both wanted different aspects of it. Phoebe was looking for adventure. She was looking for passion. She was looking for that thrill that comes with love. And I think she was also looking for like that kind of like drama that goes behind it, and how you never know. You can just turn around and love is gonna smack you in the face, and sometimes you've got to make hard decisions. And I think that's why we see what happens with Cole unfold. Okay. Oh my God. Piper wanted the same thing, but Piper wanted stability. Piper wanted that part of it that sweeps you off your feet. She wanted the same exact things as Phoebe. Same exact things. But she wanted it to look different than what Phoebe's looks like. And I think that's why when we see Piper, I know people go up for it on a Tuesday for her and Mark. Mark was a ghost. That was never going to happen. But I understand why. Because Mark the ghost was very gentle. And I think that he had that same approach to life that Piper had, and I think that's why they had such good chemistry, and I think that's why it's so sad that they weren't able to be together, because I do actually think Mark and Piper probably would have been really good together had he actually been alive. And it's kind of like that moment of, oh, I had it right here, but I couldn't actually have it, right? So then we get to Leo. What I'm gonna say might be a stretch, okay? It may be a stretch. This may be me casting to stretch the imagination spell on myself, okay? Leo and Cole did the same things to Piper and Phoebe, but they were on opposite ends of the morality spectrum. They both came in and lied. They both came in undercover. They both got with these women under false pretenses. And they both disappeared after their cover was blown. Let's just be honest about the situation. Let's just be honest about the situation. Let's just be honest about the situation. Now, they're on different ends of the spectrum, because Cole was coming there to unalive them, and Leo was there to protect them, right? But I bring sat up to, and they were both old. Exactly. Y'all are absolutely right. They were both old. They were both old enough to know better. The difference is, okay, there's a lot of differences in this, besides them just being good and evil. So first and foremost, let's just address the fact that Piper and Phoebe both fell in love with versions of these men that did not exist. Leo the handyman did not exist. Cole the defense attorney did exist, but it was also a front to an evil, so he had existed, but it didn't exist. That's what I'm saying. So they both fell in love with versions of a man that did not exist. That's number one. That's numero uno. It's numero uno. Cole was manipulating intentionally Phoebe. He was intentionally manipulating Phoebe so that he could worm his way into their life. He had studied them, right? Leo knew them because he had been watching them, which we'll get into. But he had been watching them. He knew who they were. And Piper fell in love with a version of a man who she thought did not know her secret. She fell in love with a version of a man that she thought was separate from this magical life. She fell in love with a version of this man who was genuine, who put his best foot forward, who presented this loving, caring side to himself to her. He was just your average run-of-the-mill. He was almost like a little himbo, honestly. Like he was a himbo. Now, so I see Astronaut Boy saying, but he didn't try to fall in love. Cole always intended to harm. Okay, there we go. Intention. Cole being there simply to manipulate Phoebe, we have a place in our head for that because it was a part of the plan, right? It was a part of what he was there for. So we can kind of put that to the side and say, oh, it was his genius plan, but it got messed up. Leo coming there to watch over and protect them and then falling in love with Piper. I've likened it to this before. And I really know, again, this is a stretch. It's not the same situation. I've likened it before, if you've ever watched American Horror Story, to the X-Man falling in love with Fiona after he had spent her whole life protecting her in the house. That's what it reminds me of. Is the X-Man telling Fiona that one day, now he was protecting her as a 9-year-old, but that one day he started to see her like a man sees a woman. Right? Right? So then we hear Leo, after we've watched them fall in love and all this and that, right? Leo tells Piper in a very fun manner almost that he's watched her since she was a baby. And he's able to actually describe to her how cute she was as a baby. Because he saw her and he watched it. And he did that after the fact. After they fell in love, quote unquote, and got married, quote unquote, and had a baby. Well, we're on the way to having a baby. And all of a sudden now, you want to tell me that you've been watching me since I was a baby. But you know what makes it even worse is that he justifies it as like, well, of course I've been watching you. I'm your white lighter. I was assigned to you since birth. Because that makes it okay. Because the fact that he is assigned to her, that makes it okay. That makes it fine. It's great. We're supposed to accept it. Then we find out that he knew her grandmother. years before she was born. So the reason that I bring that up is that Cole was there to manipulate and gaslight Phoebe from the jump. That was his evil plan, right? That was his evil plan. That's a whole other level of disgusting right then and there. And then we're gonna dibble dabble into that when we talk about Phoebe next week. We're gonna dibble dabble into that then. But with Piper, this adds a whole other level of manipulations and disgustingness, because you've literally watched this lady when she was a baby. You know her family. You've known her family before she was born. But somehow when you started to come in and work with her directly, you fall in love and you just didn't mean for it to happen. Poor little baby. I don't feel bad for Leo. I don't feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for him. I have nothing for that man. And saying that he's an angel, I'm so sorry to say, y'all, if you can go, and I'm not talking to anybody in particular in this, because I know y'all, I know that y'all are good sports, and I hope y'all know that I am not saying like, oh well, you particular whatever. I'm not saying that. I think it's disturbing when people actually try to defend that. To me, he's known this woman's family years before she was born. He watched her as a baby. And then to say like, oh, well, he's not really of this earth. He's not really da-da-da-da. That's a cop-out, baby. I'm sorry. That's a cop-out. It's a cop-out, boo. Leo was there to protect them. And the thing is, he barely did that when he first got there. Do I really have a problem with that? So same with Cole, right? I'm just gonna say that I already said that earlier. And so if you were here for it, then you were here for it. If you weren't, you weren't. And when I talk about Phoebe next week, I am going to be going into how weird and creepy that is. My thing is, I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to tell you that you're a horrible person who needs to go seek therapy, because I think it's different in the mythical world, though. What the hell does that mean? I'm not trying to be funny. What does that mean? Like, I don't understand what that means. Okay. I'm trying to really gather my thoughts on this. My problem is that Leo was there to protect them, quote unquote, right? To watch over them, to guide them, to lead them. And he was not doing that. Leo was doing behind the scenes stuff. And he didn't even start doing that until like, what, halfway? Well, maybe not halfway through the season. It might not have been fully halfway. But he wasn't doing anything meaningful as their white lighter to help them. He was doing stuff in the background. He's doing, oh, I'm going to heal the book. I'm going to da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, these women just out here just floundering. Just figuring it out. Good, bad, right, wrong, in between. These women just out here just whatever. And instead of the strongest magical people in the world, the strongest good witches having an actual guide into their witchhood, We have one who's doing stuff behind the scenes, going in the house to fix it up, and then having intercourse with one of his charges and saying he fell in love. It's kind of like how one day, one very far away day, because I don't even have the mental space. If you've ever watched Buffy, it's kind of like the Cordelia and Wesley relationship. Girl. 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 Let's be for real. Let's be for real. That's a different situation because Cordelia was straight up a minor. This is creepy more than it is anything else. Piper and Leo was more creepy than it is illegal. There's nothing illegal that happens. It's more creepy in the sense that he's been watching her as a baby. And I have so much trouble as just a person, I guess, and as an individual who has worked in foster care. I've worked with a lot of foster children. I've worked with a lot of teenagers who things happen to them from people they knew. It happened from mama's friend. It happened from daddy's best friend that he went to high school with. I don't bring that up to make anyone uncomfortable, and I really apologize. I probably should not have. I bring that up to say that saying things like I don't think it's creepy when an angel does it, to me, I don't understand that logic because you've watched this person in some capacity. And you know what she looked like as a baby. You can describe what she looked like as a baby. And then you fell in love with her. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to walk away from this topic now because, and the multiple lives. Thank you, Princess, for bringing that up. That's another point. Leo knew that him and Piper's past lives were lovers. He knew that. So he has now gone into their dynamic as her guide, the person who is supposed to be leading her into witchhood, and knowing that their past lives were romantic with each other. But then I also put that on the elders. Because if you had charmed ones that you knew were attracted to men, and you knew that one of your white lighters' past lives was in a relationship with one of the charmed ones' past lives, why would you even put them in the same orbit? The elders did try to stop him. The elders assigned him to them. They tried to stop it after the fact, but they assigned him to them. The elders assigned Leo to the charmed ones, knowing what their past lives were. So we can say they tried to stop him all day long, but they put each other in each other's paths directly. It's not like he happened upon them. They directly put him there. So you see what I'm saying? So you can't put these two people together and then say, oh, well, you shouldn't be together, but you know that their past lives were together. You've shown him. He has that knowledge. So that means they have that knowledge. And they still chose to put these two people in each other's paths and then say, but you can't be together. Well, baby, if you know that we run in the same circles in past lives and you have all this magical knowledge, why would you, as the elders, and you have a rule that white lighters and witches can't be together, why would you even put them? You see what I'm saying? So do you see what I mean when I say their dynamic was messed up from the beginning? And I'm not going to keep harping on it, and I'm not going I guess create a situation where I can go back and forth with people, because I truly want, this is, when you come here, this is supposed to be a safe space, and I don't want to do anything that's gonna whatever. So I apologize. I get very touchy about this because, like I said, I want to elaborate maybe a little bit. If y'all don't know, I do have a background in child welfare. And so when I hear things like that, it automatically takes me back to things that these children used to tell me. And it makes me think of how it was people that they trusted, people that knew them, people that knew what buttons to push, people that knew how to get into this with the yeah, I've always loved that you do that. That's what I mean when I say Cole and Leo are right here. They're just on two opposite ends of the spectrum. They both did not the same thing, because it's not the same thing. Because Cole's was even worse, because his was intentional. And he intentionally wanted to manipulate that lady. It's the same thing to me, because neither Piper nor Phoebe ever got a chance to say no. They never did. Neither one of them got a chance to say, Piper never got the opportunity to say, Leo, that's creepy. I don't want any part of that. Piper never got the chance to say, I'm not comfortable with the fact that you saw me as a baby. She never got the chance to say, okay, well, you're magical and I X, Y, and Z. Piper never got that chance. Neither did Phoebe. They fell in love with versions of these men that, for the most part, didn't exist. They were fabricated. And that's what disturbs me about Piper and Leo's relationship, is that he used it to justify coming after her. He used it to say, we're meant to be together because our past lives were together. And hopefully you'll learn from your past life's mistake. You know what I mean? He used that knowledge to try to fight for her. And that's another thing for me, is when people say like, oh, Piper and Leo had to fight so much to be together. No, they didn't. Piper and Leo didn't have to fight to be together. Piper and Leo did things. They got in their own way. The only time Piper and Leo truly had to prove themselves was when the elders found out that they were trying to get married. And they took him. And then what did they do? They gave him right back. So that's what I mean when I say like their relationship gets romanticized. So let's go over her relationship with Leo, right? Let's go over her relationship with Leo. Leo comes in. Leo is posing as the handyman for some reason. He is not telling them that he is their guide. He is not telling them this. He is not, there really is seemingly no reason for him not to have told them that he is their guide, but he didn't. So he's there. They fall in love, right? Leo is sent away because he fell in love with her. And then he comes back because he needs their help with a dark lighter for another charge. Okay. You know, Piper heals him because she realizes that she is in love with him. That's how she's able to heal him. And in season 2, we see them have an on again, off again relationship. Leo's wings getting clipped is an interesting situation because he does break the rules by healing Piper, right? But then his wings get clipped, and where is he? With Piper. His wings don't get clipped, and then he gets sent as punishment off to some far off place where he doesn't remember her or something like that, and then they have to like find their way back to each other like when he's an elder. No. He's made human, and he's right there with Piper. Working in the club, messing her life up. Getting in the way of this woman's relationship with Daniel. Now, let's get into Dan. I want to say this about Dan before we get into our discussion, because I've said this about him and I firmly stand by this. I do not think that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's something that I think about when I think of his character. Dan was not meant to be a viable option for her going forward, not long term. He was not meant to be a true contender for Piper's love. He was not written as a true contender for her, which is sad because that makes his character sort of throwaway when you really look at it. And I think that's why Dan doesn't get, I think that's why people hate Dan, is he wasn't meant to be there long term. And I see people saying like, oh, Dan wouldn't have accepted her. She's too powerful for him. Da 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 da. I want us to think about what sister we're thinking about. We're talking about Piper. Piper didn't want to be a witch. Piper wanted a normal life. Piper wanted a normal man. She wanted normal children. She wanted a normal house. She wanted a normal cat. She wanted a normal Jeep. She wanted a normal job. She wanted to go to store to get normal tampons. She wanted a normal cookbook. This woman wanted normal. Normal. You can't get no more normal than Dan. Let's just be honest about the situation. Dan was what Piper, he literally down to the bottom line was what Piper wanted. He was normal. And Tiff Tricks or whoever this is saying Dan was boring, so was Piper. I'm not trying to be funny. I promise you I'm not. Piper was boring too. So for me, I think the point of their interaction that makes it sad is that Piper did not want that man from the jump. She didn't. She wanted what he, if Leo could have given her what Dan could give her, I still don't think she would have wanted Leo. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Piper didn't want normal at a certain point. This is what I mean when I say Piper and Phoebe wanted the same thing. They wanted that sweep you off your feet love. They wanted that dramatic love, but Piper wanted the normal side of that. Phoebe wanted the in your face part of it. They wanted the same things. They just wanted to look different. That's why Piper wants Leo and not Dan. Because Dan is normal. Dan is what Piper says that she wants. She wanted someone that could be grounded and rooted. She wanted someone that could come home at the end of the night and she done made a pot roast and some mashed potatoes and some whatever else you make to go with pot roast, carrots and all of that, right? That's what Piper says she wants, because that's what Piper always envisioned. But Piper with Lily got the opportunity to have some sort of adventure. The thing about Piper and Phoebe, and I use them specifically to say that they are two sides of the same coin. Thank you, Mama Carolyn. The reason I use them to say that they are two sides of the same coin, Piper and Phoebe were both pick-me's. And that's fine. People can be pick-me's. And because I don't think a pick-me is inherently bad depending on the situation. I'm not talking about pick-me like they were willing to choose, like change themselves for whatever, even though Phoebe kind of was a pick-me in that, whatever. They wanted someone to choose them. That's what I mean when I say pick-me. They wanted someone to choose them over this. What is there to choose if you born and you got a job? What you choosing me over? Nothing. But if you're choosing me over being a white lighter, you're choosing me over following the rules. You've broken tradition to be with me. We might have a little something on our hands. Those are daddy issues, baby. Those are daddy issues. And the thing about that is, Sam broke tradition to be with her mama, nothing new. I mean, you can say that all day. But their parents weren't, but her mother was not with Sam out loud. They were together in secret. They gave up a baby because they didn't want the elders to know that they were together. So we can't really compare Sam and Patty to Piper and Leo. Piper and Phoebe wanted to be chosen. Which is, the thing is, I'm not saying that that's some horrible knock to them, like, oh, they were trying to be pick-me's. No, they wanted to be chosen, which makes sense. People who have abandonment issues, daddy issues, mommy issues, whoever, sometimes that's just how it manifests. They want someone to choose them. Piper wanted to be chosen in a way where someone came for her, right, and chose her. Phoebe wanted the same thing, but Phoebe was willing to change herself to meet him halfway. The only difference is Piper didn't have to because Leo was good. That's what I'm saying. That's what I am saying with their relationships. With Piper's relationship to Leo is Leo was drama. Leo was extra. Leo was this person who was going to come in and choose her over all these different things, right? And so Dan, in comparison, is this person who's just readily available. He doesn't have to choose her because he just wants to be with her. He just enjoys his time with her. Dan just wants to hold hands. He whatever. Now, Piper and Dan's relationship, it motivating and safe. You think Leo was motivating and safe? Oh my God. You just made that up. You just made that up. I've watched Charmed over 5 times, trust me. Well, baby, I've never seen it before. I went on Wikipedia right before this, and from what I got on Wikipedia, child. Okay. Let me stop. No. Okay, for real. Let me be for real. I'm so sorry. I'm joking. You've never seen Charmed and Have a Life? No. I don't know who this is. Is this Farrah Fawcett? I think this is Farrah Fawcett. My research told me that this was Farrah Fawcett when she was on Charlie's Angels, but I don't know for real. Oh my God. But no. I get so tickled every time someone actually thinks that. If you think that I have not watched this show and you clearly Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I be forgetting sometimes. Like, I promise you, I'm just being funny, but I don't want someone to think I'm actually being serious. But it just be so funny to me. Because people really used to tell me all the time, like, how have you never seen this show, but you're talking about it? Girl, call it intuition. Call me That's So Raven. I just watched all of season 5 without ever turning it on. Like, girl, I don't know. Okay. Let's get back to it. For real. Let's be for real. Let's get it home. Okay. Anyway, okay, no, for real. Here's my thing with Piper and Leo. Leo is a character who gaslights Piper when the time comes for it. That's my issue with him. And I think that a lot of times it gets overlooked because their relationship is so idealized, and it's like, oh, that's mother and father. Oh, that's da-da-da-da. And Christina, baby, I'm not going to, don't tell me what to do. Anyway, don't tell me what to do. But no. This is what I mean when I say, even in her relationship with Dan, Leo did not care about that man in any shape, form, or fashion. Leo did not care about Piper's relationship with that man. He did not respect it. He did not care about it. He would kind of halfway pretend that he was respectful because he didn't want to come off as a jerk. But he was always basically telling her, like, girl, you stupid for being around him. You crazy. And I really want us to think about Dan's perspective of this show. Or on this show. I really want us to think about it. Imagine you are dating a woman, person, whoever you love. You're dating a person, and then a person that they used to date is always here. Even if you don't know that they used to date. Even if you just know that he's always around. This man is always around. This man is always here. They always coming up with some explanation as to why this man is around. Oh, he works for the club. But for some reason, this man has hid the house at 12 midnight after we done had a party and the party has disbanded. Now she looking at me like I'm supposed to go back to the house. She looking at me to go on ahead and go home. But then he's just standing here twiddling his thumbs. Huh? When Dan was like, Leo, don't you think it's time for us to go? That was a natural response. But it came off as needy or as, what word am I looking for? Insecure. Because we know that Piper and Leo are supposed to be together, right? But it looks like Dan is insecure. But that's what I think sometimes with Charmed is hard for people to do, including myself, because I've had these issues before, where it's kind of hard to put yourself in the shoes of these characters because we love them so much, because we've watched them, because X, Y, and Z. And so it's hard to look at the viewpoint of a character sometimes. Because for a very long time, I did not like Piper. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And we're going to double back to that in just a minute. But for quite some time, I was not a fan of this lady. But I had to look in myself and understand why. And I had to understand that was that little rebellious part of me that was saying, you're not going to tell me who I should like. You're not going to tell me who I should follow. You're not going to tell me who my favorite character should be. And so that was something in myself that I had to address. And that was something that I absolutely did. Anyway, The character of Dan, when you look at it, you think about this man. Think about this man having to come to the back door. This man is at the back door with cereal and some medicine for her poison ivy, because he said that whenever he tries to get through the front door, he just can't. That's weird. You know what I'm saying? For someone who's interested in somebody, if you tell me that I gotta come through the back door to even get your attention, ma'am, don't play with me like that. That would have been my day. That would have been my moment. I would have been like, girl, bye. If I can't get through the front door, I'm not coming in. Because clearly, I'm not welcome. And here's the thing. Here's the other part that I think makes it hard for us to relate to Dan. We know that we know what Piper is hiding, and we know why Piper is hiding it, right? We know that. The audience, we know that. Dan does not know that. When Dan is talking to Jack, and they're talking about how every time time starts, but it seems like time just stops, and when it starts back up, they're different people. We know that it's typically because a demon has attacked or something like that, and Piper had to stop time so that she could talk to whoever or do whatever, and the emergency had to be addressed. We know that. Dan does not know that. What Dan knows is that he's talking to her in one moment, and then she's different in the next. So it's hard for us to get that perspective, and it makes him seem insecure. That man was being unintentionally gaslit the entire time he was with her, because just like Leo did not give Piper the actual version of himself to let her consent to being with him, Piper did not give the actual version of herself to him. Piper was given a piece of herself to Dan. And Dan was going off of, this is what you're telling me, but then you're doing something different. You're acting different, but you're telling me that you care about me. You're telling me that you love me. You're telling me that you X, Y, and Z. You're telling. But then I can't get in the house. When I do get in the house, this man is up in here. And he ain't leaving, but I am. I'm telling you that I think there's something wrong with this man. I'm telling you that this man is sketchy and weird and whatever else. And you looking at me like I'm crazy because you just know him and you trust him. So instead of saying, am I saying that she had to tell him something? No. What I am saying is that Piper never gave that man any information that could have led to him. And here's the thing about saying that Dan is insecure. Here's the thing about that. I think that when it comes to that, people tend to act like that's just abnormal. No man on this earth has ever put his personal thoughts to the side because he loves somebody. No woman has ever done that before. If we're going to be 100% honest, in the same exact way that I said that Leo was lying to Piper and that Cole was lying to Phoebe, Piper was doing the exact same thing to him. Piper literally was going into their relationship wanting that security that he could provide. She wanted that part of their relationship, but she didn't want to commit to it. She wanted that from Leo, if we being 100% honest. She wanted that part of Leo that he couldn't give her. She wanted that person who was going to be there at night. She wanted that person who she could take his lunch to him on his lunch break. That wasn't Leo. That was never going to be Leo. Leo kept secrets. Leo couldn't tell her about his other charges. Leo couldn't tell her where he was going. Leo was constantly doing stuff in the background. Even in season 2, the elders were sending him upstairs. He told Piper he had to go. And then they sent him upstairs so that he could move the book to the page to send them into the future. Now, on the surface, ain't nothing wrong with that because Leo has a job to do. But the problem is that that's why their relationship shouldn't have happened in the first place. Leo had a job to do. So it puts him in this weird predicament where, and I'll never defend Leo because I can't stand that man. But Leo would have to lie to her because he still had a job to do. You can't actively not tell somebody something and then go back and be like, yeah, they told me I couldn't tell you. I wasn't sure what was going on, but they told me that it was, something was going to happen. Something was coming. How is that fair? How is it fair that you know these things that are about to happen to me and I don't find out until after the fact? Because someone told you that you couldn't tell me. Season 3. Good example. When he finds out, when he's going to tell them about, I really need to mute not too much. I hate when people say that. That is the most condescending phrase. And I know they don't mean it like that, but it really is so condescending when people say not too much on, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I just had to say that passive aggressive statement. But no, for real. When the elders jingle him and tell him that they're about to be sent back into the past, right? What does he do? He runs up there and he's like, oh my God, guys, I gotta tell you something. I don't know why I'm making him sound like a young Shay Van Buren. I'm not 100% sure why I just made him sound like a young Shay Van Buren. But anyway, and right when the portal opens, that's when he's like, I gotta tell you about that. And then they go into it. And he's like, they're not ready. So I'm not going to say clearly. I don't want to use the phrase clearly because I think that's up for interpretation. I am going to say that it is inferred to me that Leo knew something was coming before that moment. And that this was just them warning that it was coming in right now. That was what I got from it. That doesn't mean anything because they could have been talking and said hey, blah, 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 right? But Leo knew something was going to happen at some point. He just didn't say anything. He knew when he orbed from downstairs to upstairs that he was going to go move that book. He might not have known what page it was going to, but he knew that they had a lesson to learn. And he said, well, okay, gotta let you do it. After he became an elder and the cleaners came and got Wyatt, well, there ain't nothing I can do to stop him. If you hadn't been such a neglectful mother, then maybe they wouldn't have come and got him. When all hell breaks loose, when he's up there talking to them and then he comes back downstairs. He comes back down to the house. And they say, where have you been? What are what do the elders have? And he says, oh, well, they're trying to figure out how to clean up your mess. They're trying to figure out how to clean up your mess. That's what I mean when I say you can have a working relationship with someone that you care about. But I do think that it's gonna tell on you at some point. You know what I mean? It's gonna tell on the kind of person that you are at some point. And I think that when it came to Leo and them as the charmed ones, it will come out in moments like that. Well, they're here to figure out your mess. Well, if you hadn't let Wyatt do this, then they wouldn't be taking him. Oh, well, they didn't tell me what it was about, but I just knew I had to do it. Oh, well, da-da-da-da. Well, I this. Well, I that. And it breeds too much selfishness. You know what I mean? And that's my issue with their relationship is it's never balanced. They don't get a chance to be a couple. Even if you're a couple who works together, Leo as her guide, they depend on him. Let's just be honest about the situation. They depend on him to bring them information. And so they do have a dependent relationship in some shape, form, or fashion. And on the other end of that, Piper and her sisters are the ones taking care of the house. Leo lives rent-free in this house. He ain't got to do nothing. He ain't got to bring no money in. He ain't got to go to the grocery store. And at a certain point, the man don't even raise the children. So that's what my problem with their relationship is that it's rooted in imbalance. And it's supposed to be, just for funsies. But then when he gets mad over their relationship. Oh, well, I can't connect with Piper because she's connecting with her sisters. He does that in season 2 and he does it in season 5. He does that twice in the series that I can think of off the top of my head. He gets mad in Apocalypse Not because, well, you're just spending so much time with your sisters and, He gets mad in season 5 because her sisters are always in their arguments. It's the freaking power of 3. That works in a situation where both of them are humans, right? That works in that scenario. It does not work I say it doesn't work. It makes it, I don't know what word to use, but it makes it despicable almost that he is upset at the fact that they have this strong bond. And here's the thing. On paper, that makes perfect sense. He has a relationship with this lady outside of her sisters. I can see any relationship being impacted if your family is too close. I understand that. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that because Leo is their white lighter, he has a special insight and a special knowledge that their relationship is essentially the only thing that keeps them alive. Their bond as sisters is what keeps them alive. Now, that's what I mean when I say it's a weird dichotomy where I can see it being true. Or not true. That's not what I'm trying to say. Okay. Where I can understand that from the point of a husband, he would be upset with them being in everything, right? That's what I said. As a husband, I get it. Fully understand that. But that's what I mean when I say, baby, you can't be a white lighter and a husband. Because you can't tell me that you want to nourish my relationship with my sisters and then turn around and be like, oh, but it's so annoying. But I think that the problem with that is season 5 is when they're all moving into their different realms and walks. So everyone is starting to be a little bit more independent. Everyone is starting to focus on their own lives more. Paige is focusing more on being a witch and what that means for her. Phoebe is focusing on her career and moving on from Cole. Piper is moving into this motherhood phase, right? And I think that that's the problem with something like that, is that as their guide, he's supposed to still be there for them as witches, but he just wants Piper to be there as his wife. Because I got on here one day and baby, I ate that man alive. And I hope I saved it. I don't know if I did. But let me tell you something. When I went back and watched why do I keep saying a mermaid's tale? A witch's tale. I always say a mermaid's tale and I don't know why. A witch's tale. Leo was the one who gaslit Piper into being anxious. Leo was the one who gaslit this lady. Piper, who is naturally anxious, Piper, who naturally worries about everything, was so excited to be a mother That lady was so happy and so ready to be a mother. She was so, like, she was hyped over it. She knew that she could handle it. And Leo came into it and was like, well, you're getting a little too ahead of yourself. Because look at your ancestors, look at your mother. She believed in herself, and look at what happened to her. Not even as a husband, but as a person, you would think that he would have tried to nourish that feeling of happiness in her. And the thing about him saying that she needed to be more cautious, Piper was not the one that was going after demons. Piper didn't try to go after the demons until after she gave birth. After she cast the spell. So you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I say he gaslit her into anxiety. She was fine, and instead of just making sure she was okay, there's a difference in correcting her and then making something up, because that's what he did. When he said, oh, Patty got too full of herself, in what goddamn reality did Piper get to reality? Get too full of herself. Patty never did. Patty never got full of herself. Yeah, one time we hear her say that she could handle a demon on her own with a plan that she had. That's the only time we ever heard that lady going after a demon. We ain't ever heard about Patty going after no demon other than that. So to use that as an example to say that Piper should have sat down somewhere, that's what I mean when I say Leo doesn't know how to talk to people. He doesn't know how to be there for her. He knows how to humble her. He knows how to sit her down somewhere in his mind. Because this is the same person after she lost Prue that looked her in her face and said, I'm your husband, and when you speak to me that way, that means that there's a problem. This woman, her entire life got turned on its head. This woman has no idea what life is supposed to be now. There was an entire scene where that man said that to that woman. Piper was, I want to say it was Hell Hath No Fury, but I can't. It was those first couple of episodes, and I want to say it was Hell Hath No Fury, because she was scrying, and then he said, I'm your husband, and when you speak to me that way, it means that there is a problem. And that's when I want to say that's when she was like, it hurts to talk, Leo. It hurts to breathe. And then she's like, why does that not? Because can you imagine that you are going through probably the hardest time of your life, and your husband wants you to speak to him a certain way? Girl, fuck you. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say that like that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get that. Just, it pisses me off every time I think about it, because I'm not a woman. I don't speak for women. I am not the Lorax. I don't speak for a group that I'm not a part of, okay? But as someone who has worked in a predominantly female field in child welfare, and then having a mother and a sister, it sticks out when women are expected to just stop because this man wants them to react a certain way. And that was what happened. And we can say, oh, well, it was because Leo was from a different time. Well, he was from a different time. Yeah, no, he was from a different time. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't make it right. And I think that's the problem, that's a bigger issue in the world, is that people think, well, it was from a different time, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Because even from the point of view of him being her husband, the fact that Piper was hurting that bad and he knew why she was hurting, the fact that he went from, this man is a white lighter. This man is a person who is supposed to guide people in rough times of life. And instead of using the skills that he had with that, I don't know who this drink with me person is, but I am going to mute you now because you've been cutting up this whole time and I've been trying to ignore it. It's one thing. I don't mind somebody disagreeing with me because I know people aren't going to agree with what I'm saying. But I don't like people just telling me like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm just not. That's the kind of stuff that just makes me sick. Anyway, but like I was saying, the thing for me, the issue with their relationship is he had tools at his disposal where he could have really related to her in that moment. And he could have used the years, the decades of experience that he had helping future white lighters, helping witches through grief. He could have used that in that moment to help her and see that she was hurting. But instead, he turned to, oh, I'm your husband. And that's what I mean when I say those two roles don't mix. Of its own accord, you can have your own little discussion about whether a husband and a wife, whatever a husband and wife dynamic is, that's fine. The problem is Leo has another role in her life that he puts to the side when the time comes. He chooses being her husband over her white lighter when it's convenient. In a moment like that where those two things can overlap, you can be her husband and then still give her comfort in the way that you would a white or you would a charge. But he doesn't do that. He chooses. So now we at the big part. Now we're at, your love lifted me up so high that this was the highest place it could go. Okay. Here's my issue with that statement. I am overanalyzing. Okay? I am a person who sits in his room on a Saturday night and overanalyzes a 25-year-old TV show. Okay? Let's go ahead and get that into play before I say what I'm about to say. Leo did this thing that he does where he doesn't mean something in a specific way, but it comes out as gaslighting. What's happening in that moment is that Leo is leaving their family. Leo is abandoning them. There's no other way to put it. There's no, oh, well, he's just going to the greater good. And oh my God, no, he's just going to choose better. We can try to, however we want to do it. What happened in that moment was that Leo left their family. That's what happened. Now, here's what I say when I say their relationships should never have overlapped. Leo truly was going to help the greater good, right? He actually was going to help rebuild the elders. But the problem is the ease with which he chose to go help them over staying with his family. And they're like, do you think I wanted to do this? I'm not talking about no quick little, oh, he inserted a line about not really wanting to do this and this is such a hard decision for him. I am talking about the fact that this man looked this woman in the face and said, your love lifted me up so high. This was the highest possible place it could go. Leo did not mean, I'm going to go out of my way to say intentionally that I do not think that Leo meant to gaslight Piper. I do not think that that was his intention when he made that statement. However, That is what happened. He unintentionally told Piper that she had given him the courage and the strength to leave her after they had a baby. That is what Leo said to her. Like I said, I want to go out of my way and I want to say, shut up. I do not think that is what that man was trying to do in that moment. I want to be very intentional in stating that I do not think that is what he was trying to do. However, what he told her in that moment was unintentionally that she gave him the strength to leave her. She gave him the strength to go away from their family. Girl, you loved me so good that I now have the strength to walk away from you. I now have the strength for that. And you should be very grateful that that's what's happening. You should be lucky. You are now an elite abandoned wife. That is what he told her. That is what he said. Your love lifted me so high that, girl, I can walk away from you without even thinking about it. And I'm so happy about that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you and I support you. That's what I mean when I say the relationship never should have overlapped. When that woman said, you wanted a family and I gave you a son, and he was like, girl, I mean, you'll be okay. He literally told her, like, she was like, I can't raise him alone. And this nigga she told this man that she couldn't raise him alone. And this man looked her in her face and said, you got your sisters. That man said, I'll be watching. Girl, what's the problem? He was like, he literally looked at her like, what's the problem? You got your sisters. And I mean, I'm not going to be there to help you, but I'll be watching. And then the problem with that is that when people try to defend it, they're like, well, he actually left her for the greater good. It's not like he just left just to live. No, that's absolutely true. He did leave her for the greater good. That's true. The problem is that because he's their white lighter and her husband, he didn't just leave his charges. He left his family. He left his family with no real fight. Because let's think about it. The whole episode, he had been avoiding them. He wasn't talking to Piper like that. He would just jingle at her every now and again. He wasn't even talking to the lady. It really was giving that if Piper hadn't come up there, he wasn't going to tell her he was leaving. I'm just being 100% honest with you. I'm not saying that that's what would have happened. I am saying that it felt like in that moment that if Piper had not gone up there, that man would not have said anything. He just would not have come back down. And so it's like, yes, you can argue that he left for the greater good, but the problem is that their relationship was such that he also left their family. That's my problem. So now then, Chris is a whole other discussion because Chris also manipulated events. True. This is true. And that's another outside factor. That's another external factor with Chris's plan being as stupid as it absolutely was. And I can understand that. And I accept, because I love me some Chris, but Chris's plan was stupid. Let's be 100% for real. Chris's plan was stupid. Let's separate our parents and then hope and pray that they get back together. You know what I mean? So it's like, But then it also raises the question, because we don't actually know how their future went. We don't actually know what was supposed to happen, and if Chris really made something happen, or if he was just along for the ride. We don't know. We don't fully know how far removed he was from that plan. Now, I know that is essentially kind of a cop-out, but that's also to say we don't know fully, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Leo, as a character, when he comes back down from being an elder, and he's still an elder. He's wanting to dibble and dabble in Piper's life, and he wants to know, oh, you're dating someone? Who is this? Who is that? Leo makes me sick for multiple reasons. But then Leo is so gullible. Because at a certain point, Gideon even convinces this man to leave again in season 6. Leo literally leaves them again in season 6. Gideon, who is not even the most capable person in the world, manipulates him, and he leaves again. And then when he does come back and he's in their life, it's like he's in and he's out, and then he's an avatar, and then we have that whole little thing, which is just yet another issue of Leo being a part of this magical group where he has to choose an alliance between them or to his wife, and he chooses them for a time, and he lies to Piper for quite some time. He would choose magic over his family every time. If given the opportunity, Leo was going to choose magic over his family. And then he falls from grace, and he don't have no choice but to stay with her now. Because hell, he ain't magical no more. Ain't no more magic. Who he gonna choose now? Nobody. Because now he ain't got nobody else to choose. Now he just got to sit there and look crazy at her. Now he's got to sit there and reorganize the attic. Now he's got to build shelves. Exactly. Piper wanted someone who would choose her, and when the time came, he didn't. He literally would not. And then when he's with her for real, it's not like he chose her. He was pushed into it. And at that point, the lady was like, child, whatever. At that point, she's like, child, okay. You done pumped me full of these children. Child, we might as well stay together. And then after all, that's what makes it even funnier, is that after all that Leo has put them through with his lies and his secrets and his this and his that, Magic is like, well, girl, we knew you wouldn't want to fight the ultimate evil, child, so we had to take the man. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you sick? Girl, goodbye. Goodbye. This man done left me every which way to Thursday. He done left me. He done left our children. He done left this earth. Child, he done went up to the heavens. He done went up to any and everywhere he could be except for 1329 Prescott Street. And then you gonna tell me that you gotta take him from me to make me fight the good fight. Girl, I wouldn't want to do no more of that. Bye. Give it, girl, what? From whence they came, return them now. Vanish the words, vanish our powers. Take them. I don't want them anymore. I don't want it. I'm good. All I ever wanted was for this man to choose me. He ain't chose me, and now you gonna sit here and tell me that you gotta take him on to wherever, better pastures, greener pastures, so that I can fight up. Girl, goodbye. From whence they came, return them now. Vanish your words, vanish your powers. Goodbye. Goodbye. I'm good. Mm-mm. 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 I'm good. I'm Gucci. I promise you, I am perfectly fine. Don't. I ain't fighting nothing else. I ain't fighting nothing. Take him and the powers. Who said that? Kaya, that part. Take him and the powers, child. Take both of them. Take both of them. How about that? I really ain't finna fight. If you take him, it really ain't finna be no fight now. Evil really finna win because I'm giving the powers up. Don't play with me like that. Don't play with me like that. Don't play in my face like that. Don't play in my face like that. Because that's what y'all are doing. Y'all playing in my face. You get here. Let's just talk about the fact. I know this is supposed to be okay. No, you know what? I'm not gonna talk anymore about Leo because this is the problem that Piper has as a character. And I don't think this is a problem. I think this is, I just called it a problem. Galen, you can't call something and then say it's not that, baby. Are you okay? Because it's given that you need to go back down Sesame Street. It's given that comprehension isn't our friend. It's given read in between the lines. Oh God. But no. Piper as a character, this is what I mean when I say that so much of her story, so much of her journey, so much of who she is as a person is so wrapped up in how she responds and reacts to other people, to things that people do outside of her, to becoming a mother, to Leo leaving her, to Leo lying to her, to Leo not comforting her, to her not being a good wife, to her not being a good mother, to her not being a good big sister, to her, like, there's always something when you talk about Piper, it's so easy to go into someone else's storylines because, like I said, so much of her wraps up in other people. And then you have to unfold these parts and these pieces, and you have to try to figure out, where does she start and this other storyline end? And I think that's the point of her character, though. I don't think that that's something innately bad. I don't think that that's something that devalues her as a character. I think that's who Piper is. Because not only is Piper the heart of the show, or the heart of the family, but Piper is the most relatable character. And for a lot of us, that's what we have to do, is unravel why we're reacting to people the way we are. Why we're reacting to things the way we do. Why this and why that affects us the way that we do. Piper doesn't get a chance to be herself. Piper has to be a charmed one. Piper has to be a sister. Piper has to be a wife. Piper has to be a mother. But she doesn't get a chance to be Piper. She never gets a chance to be Piper. Never. She never gets it. She does not get that opportunity. Phoebe gets to choose Phoebe. Paige gets to choose Paige. Prue is in a unique predicament because Prue was set up as a child to never put herself first, to never live her life. She was set up as a child to always put what everyone else needed before herself. Piper unknowingly took that on herself. Piper never got a chance to be herself. Piper never got a chance to live her life because she was always Prue's little sister. She was always Leo's wife. She was always Phoebe's big sister. She was always Wyatt and Chris's mama. And then the girl. She was always somebody to someone. And that's the beauty of her character, is that we get a chance to see her go through life, and we get a chance to see her evolve as a person, and we get a chance to see, because I think magic, like I said before, I think magic is what helps her to grow and change. I think magic gives her the confidence in herself to see her innate value and her innate worth. And at the same time, it's sad for her because she doesn't ever really get a chance to herself. She doesn't ever get a chance to breathe. She doesn't ever get a chance to venture off into the world. She doesn't ever get a chance to... She doesn't ever get the opportunity to experience what's out there as a grown-up version of herself, because she's always anchored to somebody else and to what someone else is. And by the time her life started to sort of become a little bit normal to where she could possibly whatever, Prue goes to hell, right? Prue goes to burn for eternity. And then some of her friends have started to have children, and she's left out of that. And by the time she starts to have children, Leia, you know Prudence is not in heaven, baby. You know my girl Prudence is not in heaven. Let me stop. No, she does find fulfillment. I do agree with that. I just think it's sad that she never gets a chance to find fulfillment in herself. She always finds fulfillment in her role in other people's lives. She always finds fulfillment in what she is in someone else's life. She always finds fulfillment in what she brings to another individual. She always finds that fulfillment in being this, but never be. She takes those parts of her, just how, like we said earlier, right? That she didn't necessarily rely on Prue, but she relied on parts of Prue. She relied on Prue's intellect. She relied on her decisiveness. She relied on her courage. She relied on her ability. She relied on those pieces of her. And those pieces of her form the vision of Prue that she has in her head. And that's why she idolizes her and deifies her, because she sees Prue as a perfect being because she's able to take these parts of her. Piper, unfortunately, does that to herself. She takes different things that she is to different people, and she makes that into who Piper is. Piper is a good mom. Piper is a good wife. Piper is a good club owner. Piper is a good provider. Piper is a good witch. Piper is a, but Piper never is. There goes my TED Talk. There goes my TED Talk. We ate that. Oh my God. We ate that. We ate that up. Baby, we ate that up. Do you understand me? I don't like to give myself a pat on the back too often, but baby, we ate that one up. I'm sorry. We tore it up. We sure did. I feel good about that, child. Woof. Child, I need to get up and do a jig. Not y'all thought the live was glitching. My bad, child. Baby, I got in the moment and I said, let me go ahead and get that moment out. Look, do a little shimmy. A little shimmy shake, child. I'm telling you, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a great one. That was, oof, my God. My God, that was a good one. I'm telling you, I love talking about this show because I think there's so many different perspectives. That's the thing about Charmed is a show that you can find so many different perspectives, and you do change with it as you grow up. You do. You always do. Like, you don't ever just hopefully watch or read something and it just stays the same in your mind your whole life. Like, it always comes back. It always helps you to watch something in a different phase of life. Like I said, I'm 33. Just for a little bit of backstory, for some of our new people that are here that may not know who I am, you may not know, this is your first time, or maybe you've only been here a couple of times. I used to be so scared to talk where people could hear me because I genuinely thought nobody cared what I had to say. I struggled with that so bad, thinking that what I had to say was unimportant, thinking that I was unimportant, and thinking that I was incapable of really building anything. And I still struggle with that, and I still, like, that's why I was so nervous today. Was I was just scared that I wasn't gonna be able to talk. Sometimes I don't think I'm the smartest tool in the shed, because I get caught up on words or how I want to say something, how I want to phrase something. And just for me, Charmed, when I started talking about it on TikTok a couple of years ago, kind of more seriously, Charmed opened up a world to me that I don't even know. Like, I started watching the show when I was 10. So that was in 2001. The first episode I ever saw of Charmed was Charmed Again. It was at Prue's funeral. That was my first ever episode of this show. And I've been watching it ever since then. And one of the things that I always wished was that I had someone to talk to about it. I never had anyone to talk to about it, ever. I never had anyone that I could, like, sit down and be like, hey, this is what I think about this. This is what I did. This is what so I just kept everything essentially to myself. And what I have appreciated about this platform, being able to talk to y'all, being able to get on here and go on a 2-hour long rant about this show or whatever else, is that y'all know what I'm talking about. And I know what you're talking about. And we can laugh because we disagree, or we can whatever because, oh, child, I don't know. You know, and then we can go into why we feel that way. And one of the things that I take so much pride in, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I have a lot of rough days. There's some days where I'm just like, why am I still, why? You know, like, okay. Why? You know? And I think about the community that we've built on here. The community that I was so fortunate to be the starting point of. A place where people could gather, a place where people could talk, a place where we could all laugh, a place where something that we used to have to talk about in secret, or we used to, you know, we were scared people were gonna laugh at us if we talked about it or whatever, that we can come together and we can talk about it. I have not had a job for 3 months at this point now. I chose to leave. That's a whole other story, child. But what kept me going was being able to build this up. Because if I didn't have this to talk and to do and to meet and to see, I don't think I would be okay right now. I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all, because life goes through phases of not being great. And right now it is in a not great state. And there are a lot of days recently where there is no light at the end of the tunnel, seemingly. And it's hard to get excited about something, and it's hard for me to feel happy some days, and it's hard for me to be anything really. But thinking about this community, thinking about what we have here that's what makes me feel like there's a purpose. It's not happy, it's not great, it's not perfect right now, but there's a purpose to me being here. And me learning to speak and learning that my voice has value that's what makes me relate, I think, to Piper a lot, is when you are going through so much pain that you don't know who you are in that moment, but you have a vision of what you want to be. That is the hardest thing in life, because there's a lot of days I don't want to be here. I'm just being honest. There's a lot of days. And it's because I'm not used to not being able to go to the store. You know, I live with my family right now, so I'm not used to not being able to help pay a light bill. And that really makes me feel like I'm not useful, because I can't serve that function. And I think about, I know it's a show, but I think about, you know, Piper thinking that she needs to be what Prue was, because they don't have that anymore. You know, they don't have that person to look out for them. They don't have that person to be there for them. And how stressful it is for her to feel like she has to take that place because Prue was this. And so for me, I think that I am trying to live up to a previous version of myself that could do those things, that could pay a bill, that could go to the store, that could get gas, that could do stuff. And I'm trying to live up to him, and I'm trying to be and pretend to be him, and I'm not that person right now. And that's what I mean when I say, like, you see yourself in these characters, and that's why I know it's hard to, that's why I acknowledge that I know it's hard for us to separate from them sometimes. Like, we can't just all jump and be like, oh, well, nope, this character is da-da-da-da, because we identify with them and we relate to them. And that's just the beauty of Charmed, is us being able to come together, talk about this show, and try to do what we gotta do. Read Leo from time to time, because that's what we're gonna do over this way. As long as I'm here, is we're gonna read that man. We're gonna read that man to filth. Every chance I get, every time I have an opportunity, I'm reading that man for filth. Every single time. Every single time. I'm reading that man for filth every single time. And and but no. I'm just very thankful that everyone is on this journey with me, child. I'm just thankful you hussies are on this journey with me and that you choose to listen to me. Oh, God. Oh, my God. To all the new people, child, listen. I don't cut up like this every day. I'm sorry. I don't cut up like this all the time. Sometimes, child, I just get overwhelmed. Life is life. But y'all ain't here for that. Y'all ain't here to see me, child, break down and get my eagle on, girl. But no, it was great. It was amazing to see so many new faces tonight, and hopefully, okay, all right, okay. So let's go ahead and address this. Am I gonna say that I'm gonna remember everyone's name? I am going to say that if I don't remember your name, it's Leia's fault. It's Leia. But it's a lot of y'all that came in tonight, so I feel like it's Leia and Leia and Tyronte's fault. It's Leia and Tyronte's fault if I don't remember y'all's names. Oh my God, we do. Oh God. But no, somebody asked if we do Charmed live. So we do Charmed lives. We're gonna do 2 more Charmed lives, or 3 really, next week. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So those are the days that I go live on TikTok. I go live on TikTok on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I had started kind of trying to incorporate new stuff. So I appreciate that, Elijah. Thank you. It's 7 p.m. Central Time. So I don't know what time that is for you. With y'all, because it's 10:13 here right now. So I'm in Louisiana. So I'm in Central. It starts at 7 p.m. Central Time. And usually I talk about Charmed, but I'm trying to make every Thursday like our non-Charm days, because I am trying to incorporate other TV shows, things like that. But like I said, because I was off this past week, I didn't do anything this past week. I'm gonna come back talking about them. So, oh, come on, New Orleans, purr. Absolute purr. But child, I'm in North Louisiana, and I ain't up here with the fun stuff, child. So, but oh, come on, baby, baby, Louisiana is in the house tonight. That's what baby, Cheryl Lynn, y'all go look at Cheryl Lynn's picture, baby. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If I was that pretty, girl, y'all wouldn't be able to tell me nothing. I would just put up videos of me standing still every single day. I would literally every day just post a video of me just standing there. I wouldn't be doing anything. I wouldn't be moving. I wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't be nothing. I would literally just post a picture of, like, every day. Baby, listen, girl. Baby, Key said you fine. Key, what you meant by that? Because, I mean, I'm trying to, we love to play matchmaker, child. Let me find out. That's all I'm gonna say. Because as you can probably tell, like, I'm not, if I wasn't part of the Rainbow Coalition, like, I would absolutely, I'd be like, hey, girl. I mean, I'd be like, okay, wait. I'd be like, okay, wait, okay, let me, okay, this how I'd be if I was straight. Okay, I'll be like, hey, yo, what's up, little mama? I'll be like, yeah. So what's going on? What you trying to get into? Baby, listen, I would eat. I know I would be a girl. I know I'll be getting the ladies. I know I'll be getting the ladies. Trinidad, don't be messy. I know I'll be getting the ladies. Rico said Mississippi. So, I mean, we in Mississippi, Louisiana. Child, listen. I live the gayest state ever. Shut up. Shut up, Leia. Okay. Oh, but wait. Okay. So all I'm saying is Sherilyn, I'm just saying Key said hey. I don't know if I wasn't supposed to say nothing, but she said, Key said hey. You ain't gotta say hey if you don't want to, but I'm just, oh, Sherilyn said she got a man. Okay, we gotta, okay, all right, y'all, calm down, y'all. We gotta stop. Sherilyn said she got a man, y'all. Sherilyn said she got a man, so that means we gotta stop. Okay. Cause baby, listen. Key, listen, baby, I'm on your side. I'm on everybody's side, but child, I'm trying to play Cupid. Girl, not me up here trying to be, girl, not me being an Anja woman. Baby, when Anja woman got the, Key, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Key, see, okay, now you got me. Okay, see, now I'm a fraud. Now I am a fraud. And Key, you did that. You turned me into a fraud. I hope you're happy. I'll never forgive you. Let me stop. Baby, Key made me look like a fool. That's okay. I'm gonna still help you when the time comes. I'm gonna be there for you. See, Sherilyn already got a man, so we don't have to do that. We don't have to, you know. We ain't gotta match make. Baby, listen, we're trying to make some love connections, child. This is a family friendly show. Like, you ain't gotta be up at 4 a.m. Baby, you need to be asleep. It's 10 o'clock. It's after 10 o'clock. You need to be asleep, child. Anyway, you single. I mean, listen. Key is single, ready to mingle. Is there anyone in here that wants to snatch her up like a Pringle? If that wasn't a sale, I don't know what was. If that don't find you the person of your dreams, whoever that may be, then baby, I don't know what will. If that little rhyme didn't do it, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It might be impossible if that don't help. Let me stop. Oh God. You know what? One day that's what we gonna do. One night we gonna have a singles night, and all us single hussies gonna get up in here, and we gonna, babe, we'll make up some connections, child. Key said, I need that spell that used to conjure that man from her. Okay. When you come on late and miss the joke, child, I'm just trying to help everybody find a love connection, child. I'm gonna play Cupid. One night I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna just be like, if you're single and ready to mingle, then post a heart. And then whoever replies to your heart, That's what we're gonna do. You know what? That's what we're gonna do. I can sing my Coop song. Oh no, I would never sing that again. No, let me stop. I would love to sing that actually. When I hated that I had to sing it so low though. When I was in that musical, I was in a Charmed musical. Then what? You know what, Trinell? You know what? Then y'all gonna woohoo like the Sims. Mm-hmm. Screaming. Oh God, the siren episode. Yes. Oh my God, I love the siren song. Oh wait, that was too high. I said okay. That song ate. When that lady sang that song, it ate. I'm not gonna lie. I have a bad time like audition for American Idol. Thank you. I actually auditioned for American Idol and The Voice, and they told me no sir, no thank you. That's a true story. They both said no thank you. But I typically don't remember the way things sound, but there is something that was so beautiful about, like, it was haunting almost the way that it sounded, and I just loved it, and so I always kept it with me. And I was like, oh, if I ever become like a writer or something like that, then baby, or if I ever like write a show, I'm gonna have to have something in there that is a callback to that song, because it was so pretty. It was just so pretty. I can never remember the Ice Cream Man one though. The one with them cheering that was up there eating them folks. I can't ever eating the people. Them cheering was taking people out. I can't ever remember how that one goes. And I can see it clear as a bell. Cause Prue was up there, child, trying to help innocence as a child. So, which is ironic. Cause she loved to take innocence to glory. So, I guess, hey, she said, I help him as a child, but I'm a grown woman now. So it was a regular Ice Cream Truck song. Child, the way I can't remember to save my life, what it sounded like. Oh, wait a minute. Chanel said, you made me watch Charmed and now I'm obsessed. Oh, we got another one. Thank you. Another one. Thank you. Another one. Thank you. Listen, we stand. We absolutely stand. Welcome to the coven. Welcome to the community, child. All right. Okay. Key and Jennifer, I see y'all. But let me hush. I don't want to make y'all nervous. I don't want to make y'all nervous, child. But I see y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, well, hussies, it's 10:24. We've been on here for 3 and almost a half hours. Y'all got up to 85K. Like, listen. In your rewatching phase, happy fun. Listen, we're right here, baby. We're right here. Y'all hussies got it up to 85.5K likes. Y'all been over there getting that carpal tunnel. Y'all been over there getting that carpal tunnel and them thumbs. And I thank you. Oh, we do need to take a selfie. Okay, so everybody smile. And I mean, you better smile like you like it. You better smile right now. Okay, there you go. 1, 2. Leia, stop it. Fix your face. 1, 2. There you go. Look at y'all. There you go. Y'all took a good one, except Leia. Leia didn't. And she doesn't. No. But anyway, so I do have a YouTube. The YouTube is They Call Me Mr. G. You can find it in the link in my bio. You can find everything in my bio. Really. Child, because Leia, you was cutting up. You know why. And anyway, like I said, you can find everything in my bio. My Patreon, my YouTube, I was gonna say my Facebook, but you can't find that there. Instagram, all of that. You can find all of that in there. So until next time, I'll see you hussies tomorrow so that we can watch Sister Wives. We're gonna watch Sister Wives tomorrow. If you ever want to know what we're gonna talk about, there's a little calendar thing. It's not right here, but there's a calendar thing on my profile, and you can click it, and it'll show you like the next couple of lives, what it's gonna be, and the topics for the lives will be in there. So it was very lovely to meet everyone that I haven't met before. It was good to see you again if you've been here before. And I'll see you hussies later. Hopefully you have a great night and a better tomorrow. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Oh, come on, straight man. Oh, come on, being straight. Bye.